but we should be back in just a second.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Farzad.
So our lovely animator just had to skip off. Ladies, gentlemen, and individuals, I am so sorry about that one. For some bizarre reason, the rig just power cycled, which was terrifying as I was running along and it just suddenly went boom. So that was a little bit scary. that was just a mite scary. Beador is saying, would the lovely Deb's mind continue to answer a few questions while we wait? Absolutely. I need to quickly have a look at why the webcam is keeled over, but I should be able to fix that whilst you're answering questions.
Yeah, there was one about using jerry cans to jump in bases. Some of that I'm fine with. We try not to make things very easy to, and I hesitate to even use the word exploit because it's really just a game mechanic. There are items when you drop them that are physicalized, which means they bounce, they slide, you can shoot them, they explode, all that type of stuff. And anytime you have something like that in a game, people are going to try to use it to their advantage, essentially, to try to, especially get into bases and so forth. So, you can still build bases that are hard to get into. And
still try to fix it by adding some kind of random offset when you drop, so they won't drop at the same spot every time. But it seems like player can still predict where they're going to land, so they can just stack them and use that to jump.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm fine with some of that, just as long as, we had an issue for a while where they could create like towers of, like 10 meter high towers because they'd perfectly stack. That we didn't want. But if a player can sit there and get 2 or 3 on top of each other, that's fine. I don't consider that an exploit. I consider that just using a game mechanic to get an advantage.
Robopunk just asked, when is the sun bleeding through the ground going to be fixed? That's a polishing phase. So that will come with a polishing phase. Marco needs to go and probably reduce the sound trigger area so you don't hear bunker where you just walk over it or something like that. So it's just the area that's probably popping through the ground and you can hear it.
Actually,
adjustment.
One of the things that I just wanted to mention right now, sorry, I'm about to crawl under the desk and fix his bloody webcam before we get back in game. One of the things that I think is worth mentioning is that, yours is a, there's large numbers of players on the same server simultaneously, that there are elements that might seem very easy from a user or player perspective to resolve that might be very complicated from your end, and I just wanted to mention that. As someone who's been involved in multiplayer games, sometimes that's not something that's mentioned enough, if you don't mind my saying.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a trade-off. We want to have items. We're one of the few games I know of where we have items that are physicalized when you drop them, where they bounce and slide and all that type of stuff, because that adds fun things for the player to actually be able to do. Like, you can go drop a piece of plywood on a hill and jump on top of the plywood and you can ski down the hill type of stuff. Roll cans downstairs and all those type of fun little things you can do because they're physicalized.
Yeah.
But because of that, players can stack items at times, and so there's kind of a trade-off there. Is like, okay, what do we think is reasonable for a player to be able to do, and what do we don't want them to do? We don't want them to be able to create 10-meter high towers of gas cans, but if they can do 2 or 3 high, that's probably fine. With the base building, and the base building is their top, get on completely, but a base should never be impenetrable. There should always be a way of getting into the base, whether it's time or figuring out a way to get in the base that the person developing that made the base wasn't planning on, or using vehicles to get a height advantage. Whatever it is, there should always be a way to get in a base. We never wanted items inside of a base to be 100% secure. That was one of the goals right from the start. Is like, it's a player can get in your base if he wants to spend the time.
That is super cool. I got it working!
Yay!
I did the thing! So I'd like to... I'll tell you what, let's answer a couple of questions. Let's have some chats and some good times. And then I'll try getting back in again. I I haven't had that issue before with this rig, so who knows? It doesn't appear to be overheating, so who knows? I've got some technical superstars that have been helping me with this Mother Hubbard, so we'll roll with it and see. We'll roll with it and see. Yeah, thank you all for bearing with me. I do apologise all for that break in communications. Absolutely not my standard affair, I do assure you. Right, what was I saying? Yes! So, the other thing that I've seen that has killed a lot of other teams is, like, overscope, scope creep, the usual nonsense. There are a lot of games that I was following. God, the names are escaping me. There was the one that was more horror-based. Oh, feck. Of course, now I've had even the slightest of technical problem, my memory is shot. But with a lot of games, they promised some massive, massive features in the early. How did you keep you guys from overscoping?
Yeah, this has always been kind of an issue with us. I shouldn't say an issue, but we've always tried to be really upfront and honest with our community as far as for what we promise them, what we actually think we can realistically add, how many players we can realistically add, how big the map can be. And there are a lot of other games and that on purpose overhype their game from the start. And who knows why they do that? I don't know, it's for money or whatever, but they come out and promise they can make these, real world sized games and have thousands of players and these massive maps and all this type of stuff. And you kind of look at it, any reasonable person is going to step back and say, that's not even possible. It's like, how can you even do that? And so we've always tried to be really honest with the community and upfront about everything as far as for the scope of the game.
Okay. And that's understandable. I know what you mean. For some studios, they do. I don't think they do it dishonestly. I've seen very few examples where this has been done maliciously or with intent to misdirect. But studios, we all love games, and we all want to put every idea that we love into the games that we care about. And so, I guess it can be very tempting for teams attempting titles like this.
Yeah, I think some of it is.
I think we lost Terry.
I think we might have lost her. It's a feckin' Zergwave today of takeouts.
Yeah, what was the question?
It was more. The question was about scope and scale. How did your team keep the scope within sensible boundaries, yo?
Right. I think that's because we knew from the get-go what was possible to achieve with CryEngine and what was not possible to achieve, or maybe not possible with the resource we had. So when you get an idea of what's possible to do in an engine, what's possible to achieve, then it's very hard to overscope it. In that, so that'll probably be why we kept our work more grounded, and we won't go with 1,000 player because we know it's not possible. It's really hard to get 50 player on the map, so we won't say to players, well, we're going to make it, a 128 kilometers map because it's not possible to do it. We won't tell the fictional number of player because it's not possible to do it. So having a good idea of what's possible to do in your engine, make it so you don't overscope.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me yet?
We can again. You disappeared for a second there, good sir, but welcome back.
Yeah, Matt gave a perfect answer there. So, like I said, we just try to keep it honest with the player base as far as what we think we can realistically do and accomplish is all.
Way cool. Also, I want to jump into chat very quickly and just welcome a bunch of people who came by from yesterday evening, a bunch of people who have joined us throughout the stream, not counting the feckin' technical problems we had a little while ago. So yes, those of you who have just joined us, it's lovely to see you again. I have Terry and Matt, who are both from the Miscreated development team, here to answer questions, chat about the game, and just generally hang out, yo. I'm going to try rolling the game again and hope that the previous inclination was just a an unfortunate fluke, and we'll see how that goes. If it does turn out that there's an issue with the rig, then we'll just turn it into a chat show and hang out today, yo. You know, I'm happy to be hanging with you guys. Right. Whilst we do that conversation, I should probably kick off the Miscreated.
I'll answer a couple of these questions while you're doing that, if that's okay.
Please do. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah. So somebody asked about, getting into bases. The only way currently is smashing doors. That's true currently. For the people that are kind of active on our Discord community, we release a lot of information there about, our plans with the game. And the people that aren't on probably get kind of left out, obviously, of some of those. But our plan is we are going to revamp the base building system. And make explosives so they're useful at least. It'll be faster to make bases, faster to destroy bases, all that type of stuff. But we'll be designing that. I don't want to give a date, but that's definitely on our plan to do is to work on fixing the base building system and improving it. And the other one is the crafting system.
Okay.
There was a question related to Stream Sniper, if we were ever going to do something about stream sniping or considering that an exploit or cheating. It's not really considered cheating. It is, it's cheating, but it's not considered cheating. And I don't think we'll do anything against Stream Sniper because there will always be Stream Sniper. And you guys have way of preventing that from logging into a server, preloading the game, loading your server before starting the stream, or having a huge delay in between what they see and where you are. So you guys have way of preventing that already built in your OBS and all that. So I don't think we'll do much against that because there's nothing really we can do about it.
Yeah, I guess my answer would be, we're not going to police it. We're not going to go in and try to find out if there's a stream sniper and ban them or something like, a couple of the other games try to do. To me, that seems like it would just cause more problems than anything else. But, there's a couple things we could implement that would help there. I believe some other games have done the same where you randomize player names in the game, a few things like that. So you can't just use, the Steam server browser and easily try to figure out who's in a game. And so there are some simple things I think we could add to help. And kind of a streamer mode that you can go into and, hide some of the names and, that type of stuff that would help. I do feel bad, when somebody gets stream sniped, when you just want to go in and play the game and have a good time. And, sometimes you have, for whatever reason, there are players out there that just take glee in killing somebody over and over and over. It's just, that's just what they like to do, how they like to live their life for whatever reason. And it sucks if you have one of those people that's all they want to do is if you're trying to stream the game and they just want to keep killing you over and over and over because they think it's funny. So I do feel for those people, and I do think we need to at least do what we can to help prevent that.
Well, I mean, that's sincerely appreciated. I am by no means... Oh, cool. I actually spawned right where I was at, so we're going to continue this bicycle tour. Hopefully not annihilate my poor rig. For me personally, I've kind of accepted that if I'm going to be doing a survival game, that there are going to be individuals who are going to take that as an opportunity to do me a grief, and that I must just accept it as part of the experience. But I feel that that's on me. I feel that while streaming is it's an excellent way to spend an afternoon. Okay, here's me butchering my topic. A good friend of mine taught me about something which is called designing for the 10%, which is that you should consider any sweeping changes you make to your title, and are you designing for 10% of the user base? If you make a large change for me personally and for other streamers, obviously I will be exceptionally grateful. But how much of a percentage of your user base are we, and would you be creating problems and doing a disservice for other people? Are you just designing for the 10% in that one?
Right.
That's my personal thoughts on that, and I don't expect anyone to come with me on this mad opinion journey. I'm on a bicycle. I'm on a bicycle in the apocalypse. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Kind of look at it from the business aspect, and you have to as the game developer, right?
Yeah.
there's a lot of publicity that comes from Twitch streams and YouTube streams and so forth. And if somebody's trying to stream your game and they're having a bad experience because somebody keeps stream sniping them or doing something like that, it makes sense. It's a business. It makes sense, from a business standpoint to try to help prevent some of those things, because you
Okay.
want the people streaming your game to have a good time.
Very true.
So it may only be 10% of the people playing the game are streamers, but it has it could have a huge impact on the perception of the game.
You know what? That's an excellent point. And you'd think, being the bloke who now streams a lot and who knows video gaming stuff, I'd have thought of that. I've just made it to Woodhaven. Any tips on where I should go to show off that excellent bunker?
Matt?
'Cause
What?
there's the
Oh
bunker.
yeah, the mountain on your right.
Mountain on my right. So do I want to head up towards
Yeah.
Haywood Valley or just head up
That-
the mountain?
That huge mountain. That's where the bunker is at. I think.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. You may see a radio tower close to it, and there's satellite dishes up the mountain. So that's where it is.
Yeah, go down, keep going down the street, and then it's up on your right, I believe.
Okay.
Um,
You
I
guys
actually
are the
haven't been in
best
this.
sat nav ever.
I actually haven't been in this bunker, so I'm not the best one to lead you.
You may need something to power up the bunker though. So you'll need oil, I guess, fuel, diesel, and maybe a battery.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go poke the front of it, and then maybe later on, I'll bring a crew together. We can try
Yeah,
and crack that.
there
thing
may be
open.
stuff. There may be stuff spawning up there, which you may be able to find a drive belt or a battery already there. Maybe someone already powered it up, so you may just be able to open the door and go down.
Yeah, just be like,
Hey.
hey, what up?
Yeah.
Okay, so we hit a dirt road. I haven't. Oh, I see one antenna off on the deck.
Yeah, but
that's
that's just, yeah, this one in front of you. That's where you want to go.
Yay! Okay.
So there's a couple other questions here while you're
Please do,
having
Terry.
your little
Please do. And
your
thank
little
you
bicycle
for,
excursion.
yeah, thank you for getting in, answering questions, and being feckin' rad, yo. Thank you.
So I'm going back in the history here a little bit to see what we missed. So how often are updates planned from now on with the game? We're not going to do a set time like every 2 weeks or a month. It's going to just be whenever we have enough. I hesitate to say features because there are times we're going to do updates just because we're trying to do quality of life improvements as well. So it'll just be kind of whenever it makes sense in the game to do an update.
Okay.
Since we left, we've left early access now, the focus has shifted more on to let's polish the game, let's fix issues that have been in the game. Some of them have been around for a long time, and players are very vocal to let us know, which is fine.
Yeah.
And so you'll see more of a focus shifting now to where let's fix issues in the game and improve some of these existing issues, and let's improve some of the animations, like some of the sound effects for the original weapons are getting reworked now, for example.
Ooh.
And so those will be more of the focus going forward. There's a few features we're going to add and some systems we want to fix and improve, like base building and crafting. But a lot of the focus now will be getting the game stabilized, getting it running really well, optimizing it more so we can have more AI, more players. And then the other one will be getting mod support added, so players can take the core game now and mod it and do whatever they kind of want with it. Is what will be one of the other things we'll be focusing on.
So I might have broken my bike.
You may not be able to bring the bike up there. It's a bit too steep, I think, for that.
Yeah.
Not with that attitude.
It did say your server's restarting in 5 minutes too, so.
So yeah, we're just gonna have a leisurely walk along the water and just hang out. I had an excellent point and it dropped right out the back of my head, so I do apologise once more.
Was it about mod support or something else I mentioned?
It was about mod support. Fecking thank you. I unfortunately can't name the name, but I was having a chat with another developer, and they were very, very excited to be adding mod support to their title. And I was like, so how are you going to be doing mod downloading? And they went, what? I'm like, if people have multiple mods, which, as we know, no one ever just downloads one complete mod.
Yeah.
Ooh, mushrooms. I'm just going to eat those because I can. God, my guy looks like a right jerk. Ugh. I'm sorry. Being able to download mods consistently, especially through the Steam Workshop, I love.
Yeah.
Just being able to be like, download this, this, and this, go.
Yep, and that's the plan, is to add Steam Workshop support, which was somebody else's question there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, again, we don't give timelines because it causes issues, but it's being worked on.
Yeah, we'll need to create a few tutorials for that as well, so people can create skins for guns and all that if they want to do that. It's not as straightforward as people may think it is. So, yeah.
That should be inscribed above the gates into the world of video games. It's not as easy as you hope it is.
No, it's not.
And some stuff is easier than you expect.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just walking up into the hills, like the server's restarting in 3 minutes. Sorry, I keep derailing myself more than anything else. With the server restart, I might leave you, lovely gentlemen, just for 2 seconds, so I can nip and go get myself another cup of tea as we continue.
You're fine. We can if the voice chat stays running, we can just chat and answer some of these questions that are in your chat.
That's way cool. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was if this is something you can't talk about or don't want to get stuck into, I entirely understand, and I think I just busted my ankle falling down those rocks. So recently you added an in-game currency, not a paid currency, but you added like the bitcoins that you can mine for that allow you to store some items. I think use the coins to apply skins. Is that correct, or is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really don't mine the coins. It isn't like a real bit. It isn't a real cryptocurrency. It's just you find them in the game. You find them on these little ledger style devices.
Yeah, considering how the industry is at the moment, I should clarify that. You don't mine for Bitcoin. It is not blockchain nonsense technology. But it is a currency of value that you find in. I was going to ask, so what was the inspiration for that, and how is it... Oh, the game's telling me I need to exit. Exit now. Okay. Leave the... I'm going to wait. As we gaze out...
I may be able to answer the question. I know where you're going on that one.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Basically, we wanted... how we... at some point, we kind of went into a storage issue where people wanted more storage, and we didn't have enough storage and all that. And there's actually a limit where we can't really have infinite amount of storage in a server, because not without wiping periodically, like Rust is doing in their game. They're wiping the server on and off, and we don't want to do that. And so we can't really go with adding infinite storage, because server won't be able to manage all that data. As for now, I think they won't be able to. You can correct me if I'm not right. So we wanted a way to add more storage, which will not really affect the server stability. The way of doing that was to use Steam inventory. And so we came up with, Terry, I think, came up with the idea of adding a kiosk, which you'll be able to go to and spend a little bit of money to store an item into your Steam inventory. And that kiosk won't be rateable, so people won't be able to steal your stuff from it. But you'll have to find enough coin to store the item, and the item has to be brand new, pristine condition. Like magazine needs to be empty if you want to store it, and the ammo stack needs to be full if you want to store it. So there's some rules to the whole system, and
to keep the server from being completely overrun with data.
Exactly, and there's a whole story tied to the whole kiosk thing, which I came up with at some point. Hold on, I got a phone call. I'm just going to.
You go for it.
No, that's fine. So the whole story of it was that pre-war, basically, people were kind of expecting a war to come, so they started to sell bunker to people, and to create bunkers so people can go into it and be safe from the whole nuclear thing. And they created the kiosk so people can go there and spend money using Ledger to safeguard their valuable item, because if a bomb is going to blow, pretty much everything is going to be gone. So if you want to safeguard your item, you'll need to go to a kiosk. And The way it works is that once you put something into the kiosk will create a blueprint out of the item. So it deconstruct it,
Okay.
keep the resource of it for later use, and then create a blueprint of it. And once you go back to your kiosk and then insert your ledger, you can select the blueprint, and then the machine is just going to 3D print it back to
That's
you.
fucking cool.
That's the whole story behind it. It's explained into the game. There is a poster next to the kiosk that tell you the whole story of it. So
I
that's pretty
remember
much
having
it.
a scan of that,
Yeah.
but once this server is restarted, or if I jump another one, I can understand. Now, we've had a few people have joined us, so Chiat and Chrono have come in, so what ho, friends, and welcome! And a couple of people were asking who I am. Well, to all of you lovely, lovely folks, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name's Will. I worked in the games industry for just shy of a decade, and now I stream full-time. The reason I had these lovely, lovely devs on the line to talk about the Miscreated is I've had the pleasure of hanging with Terry at GDC. I know him from back when I was working at Improbable, and I wanted to invite him and the rest of his team on to talk about how they managed to make it this far. Other games announced similar concepts back in the day, and a lot of them have just kind of keeled over, which is really sad, but that is a thing that's happened. But the Miscreated made it. They're at version 1, and Terry and Matt have been talking about things they want to change and things they want to add in the future, but I really want to celebrate the fact that, you guys set out to make Miscreated, and you did. It is here. At least from my experience, is one of the most stable experiences of this kind that I've had. It's one of the most fun that I've had, and I personally come back to it a lot. So, yeah. And Vanderbeest would like to point out that Will is a sentient muppet. See, Terry, this is what I put up with. This is what my lot.
I know. Online community is great 99% of the time, and then 1% of the time it isn't. So, just kind of where it's at.
No, I was talking about Vanderbeest calling me a sentient muppet because he knows me far too well.
All right.
And the only sad thing was that power cycle absolutely annihilated the bits cup. So I apologise to those that have donated bits, but very doubtful. Thank you kindly. So yes.
Yeah. So when the server restarts, as you probably find out, it takes about 5 minutes, usually about 5 to 7 minutes for it to come back online now.
Okay. Would you mind if I went and got a cup of tea while you talk to these lovely folks and answer some questions?
Yep, that is perfectly fine. There's quite a few questions in here we can go through.
Okay, you lovely folks. So I'm going to leave you with Terry and Matt. If you have any questions, is it at Miscreated or just mention Miscreated in chat?
Either way is fine. They can either just have the word Miscreated or at Miscreated. Either one shows up for me.
Okay, and I'll be back with all of you lovely folks in just a second with a fresh cuppa. All right? Take it away, Terry and Matt.
Thank you. So again, on the Steam Workshop, we are planning on integrating Steam Workshop support, and it should work very similar to other games. The reason for that is we want to add mod support to Miscreated. We want to, and there's some people that have kind of the improper conception as to why is we're doing that. We're not doing it to fix the game or whatever. It's more allowing people that are creative to do anything, kind of anything they want. They can take Miscreated the way it is and mod it and add more cars and all this type of stuff if they really want to do that. But at the end of the day, it's giving more creative control to people that are playing the game, just like all the other games out there that have mod support, right? So you should be able to do quite a lot at that point. Be able to create your own items and sell them via Steam if you want, or all that type of economy, and be able to tell what mods are running on your server and download those to clients and all the typical stuff you'd expect from mods. That's the plan with Miscreated as well. So you can kind of take Miscreated as the base game and make whatever you want on top of that. Let's see. What can we expect from Kythera? I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's living up to the hype it generated. I think that's fair. There is a lot of stuff that Kythera has done that isn't obvious, though. For those of you that have been around playing Miscreated a long time, the original AI engine that was in CryEngine is extremely limited. We couldn't. I think at the time we could only do about 20 AI on the map at once, and the only place we could put AI was just in a few small cities in the south because of how bad their AI system worked at a large scale. So Kythera fixed several of those issues with the base game. We can have a lot more AI now. We can have more diverse AI than we could before, and we can have AI everywhere on the map now. And if we went to Kythera, it would be in a very sad state when it comes to AI. So there's kind of all those hidden advantages of using Kythera that you don't see, but there's definitely a lot more that can be done as far as for increasing AI count. That's one of the areas we want to improve now that we're in 1.0, is trying to up the AI count, which will help a lot. And then we still may bring other AI on board in the future, but that's kind of to be seen.
I think you had a question about snapping building. Your thoughts about snapping building?
Yeah.
Snapping base part.
Yeah, we love the freeform base building system. As a general, we think it works. There's issues with it. Don't get me wrong. We're well aware of all the issues with it. But as a general idea, we think it works really well because it allows a lot of flexibility on what you can build. The issue is building it. There's a lot of people that don't want any gaps in their walls. They want things perfectly aligned, and just to kind of make it easier to build as well. And that's kind of where the snapping comes into play, is helping in those regards. So the plan has been for a long time to keep the freeform base building system, but have a way of being able to snap and or align pieces if you choose to do so. And so that'd be the route we'll end up taking, is to have kind of an optional key you can press or something that will help you with the alignment and snapping of parts, if that makes sense. Because we do know that's something that comes up very often. A lot of people will want it, and it's also something we know is useful. We are aware of that. All right. What are your plans for being more welcoming to new players without just making the game easier? We're actually working on some stuff right now for that, in fact. And I'm not going to divulge what they are, but you'll be seeing those probably in the next couple of months come out. They're more just to help people learn the game and kind of... there's a lot of stuff you can do in Miscreated that people don't know about when you first start. For example, you start the game from scratch and you have no idea you can create a horseshoe backpack to get a backpack really easily. It's limited in space, but it's something you can do really easily to start off with. And so that type of stuff, we want to have a way that new players starting the game, it can kind of bring them up to speed a lot quicker. Teach them kind of how to build campfires and cook food and all that type of stuff. Where an experienced player doesn't need any of that knowledge, but for the new players, it would be very helpful to be able to know that, to come up to speed. So that's going to be some of our focus now after 1.0, is just making it more welcoming to new players. Let's see. What else we have here? Will the car limit per server go up? Not anytime soon. We do want cars in the base game to be a little bit of a rarity. A revamped base building system will help that in regards to, because it'll probably be easier to destroy bases and get vehicles back out of bases once that's implemented. But that's something, again, that mod support. If somebody wants to create a server with more vehicles, they can do that. But I think we're pretty good where we are right now with vehicles. The issue is more that they're stored in bases, and bases are hard to get into.
There's a question there that popped a few times. What do you do to support mods? Like, what's different about your code build process / whatever?
Yeah, some of that we are still figuring out, honestly, just because we haven't done much with the actual mod system in the version of CryEngine we use. And so we're kind of learning what's implemented and what we're going to have to enhance and fix in that regard. But the general concept should be just like in other games. It'll be integrated with the Steam Workshop. So anything you can kind of do in other games via the Steam Workshop, you should be able to do something similar. The main issue will be, like, for example, if you want to just mod something like add more vehicles to your server, that's something that should be really easy to do. Creating custom assets, like if you want to create your own weapon with its own animations and sound effects and everything, that will be pretty involved, just because you'd have to learn CryEngine and download the CryEngine editor and go through all those different steps to, just like we do when we create an asset.
Yeah.
And so that'd be something that would be more for somebody that's pretty highly skilled.
There are some slightly unrelated, but one of my favourite stories from working on Total War was one of the things we got requested a lot was people being able to mod in their own campaign maps. And what we would say a lot is that it's insanely difficult. Like, creating a campaign map in Total War is a huge amount of work. It's not just creating the physicalities of the map. It's so much. But we didn't block anything off. And then this one lad, I believe his name was Mitch from Wales, just did it. Dude just made a campaign map and ported it in. And I will not forget the face on the devs when I was like, hey, check out what this kid's done. And they're like, we have no idea how he did this.
Yeah. Yeah, we do want to have the ability for people to create custom maps. It will be work for somebody to do that. Somebody'd have to be pretty dedicated.
But it's not impossible.
Right, it isn't impossible. That's something we do want to add, though, is people to be able to create their own maps.
So, hello, I return! And to all of you lovely folks who are chilling and illing, thank you for sticking around, Joe. What a bloody excellent Thursday this is turning into. And whomever it was that filled the bit cup whilst I was looking away, thank you kindly. Thank you kindly.
Building a map from scratch. Let's say you want to build your own thing. Will take you some time to do it. You need to create you basically need to know CryEngine. You need to know how to export a level. It'll be extremely hard to achieve.
Yeah, it's not as difficult as it once was. I mean, we live in the age of YouTube and tutorials, so it's not. You're not.
Yeah, but CryEngine is so close. It's it's really small community, and there's not much around in terms of tutorial and YouTube video. Not as much as Unreal, that's for sure.
True. Or fucking Unity for that matter.
Or Unity, exactly.
Hey, Will, I think you're going the wrong way if you want to go to the bunker.
I think it's behind you.
Yeah?
Yep, pretty sure.
Let's get ourselves around the mountain as we...
Yeah, kind of go back the way you came.
Okay, I see the dish.
There you go. You have it there.
Oh, sorry, bear with me just a second. I realised I...
Yeah, the modding stuff, like I said, it's something we do want to add. There's still a lot of unknowns about it. We know the general concept behind it, generally what we want to be able to have it do. And it's just a matter, we just need to work through it now. And so it's going to take us a little bit of time to do that. It isn't something you can just implement overnight, obviously.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so we'll be releasing information, it's not like we're withholding information, it's just we don't know yet. We need to work through the process of adding modding support. And as soon as we get through that process, then we'll release information about how to do it and so forth.
Exactly. We will share our knowledge on the whole thing.
What was I going to add? That it's one of the things that I really respect, Terry, about yourself and your team is how straightforward you've been about the discussion of how these things are created and how they go in. One of the things that I'm really happy about is through, People Make Games, NoClip, and a lot of other shows, there's a lot more of a discussion about the process behind games. And people do realise that sometimes the things that are observably simple can be exceedingly complex behind the scenes. And I really like that, yo. What was I going to add? Of course, chat is discussing a Battle Royale mode. Isn't this already a Battle Royale when you think about it?
We've talked about adding an official kind of BR mode. We've been talking about it for years. It was on our website 4 years ago. It was mentioned long before BR games were popular. It was something we planned on adding from the very start. But our focus has always been on the survival game, getting out of early access. And so it may be something that we look at still. We've done no work on it in many years, though. So I don't want to promise we'll do it or not, but it may be something we decide to add. I don't know at this point.
That's understandable. Sorry, I'm just trying to punch a deer in the face. I mean, I still find it hilarious that Daybreak don't own the entire industry at the moment. That's something. Okay, let's have a talk. Earlier, I know I've been a little bit like tooting the horn of yourself and your team, Terry, but Daybreak, once Sony Online Entertainment, Sony, launched a product similar to this, which has died, after several reboots, several rebrands, and having initially having the first commercially successful battle royale game attached to it, has not survived as long as the Miscreated. That is, so I guess for all of you, when I get all feckin' all tooting my horn and chuffed about how the Miscreated has done well, like H1Z1 did not survive, and it had a incredibly successful battle royale mode attached to it, and it still couldn't do it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, one thing, just I don't want to talk badly about other companies. One thing to keep in mind, though, some of those companies are huge companies, and they had 100+ employees working on a game, and they needed just an enormous amount of revenue in order to to even continue. And they get to the point where they're like, well, we're not making an enormous amount of revenue, and so we're just going to stop.
That's very true.
I'm sure they're probably still making money, but they have to answer to investors and all kinds of stuff. And at the end of the day, they probably have people way up the hierarchy making decisions for them and controlling their future.
That is a good way of putting it. We were discussing this yesterday. The term battleship game development, when AAA game devs make bigger and bigger and bigger projects and require more and more fuel, or revenue if you will, to create. Although Iron Leon's making a lovely point, which is H1Z1 is exactly why I don't want to see a battle royale mode in Miscreated. If they had added more PvP content and focused on traditional survival experiences, they would have done so much better. I mean, again, we're not going to use this opportunity to dunk on H1Z1, but it was interesting that they didn't articulate towards the Battle Royale project and not the other. But also, it is interesting they didn't use that chance. Oh, this has been picked clean. They didn't use that chance to reinforce their survival project. It is very interesting. So.
Yeah, I think one thing that happened there is some companies realized how much money they could make from a BR game versus a survival game, and as soon as they realized that, then they just kind of went after money instead. If that makes sense, they kind of chased what was most profitable.
I don't resent them for it. It's just, it was a mistake of them to add resources as a consumable microtransactions option. Like, regardless of the balancing and regardless of the intent, one of the core loops of the experience in these kinds of games is finding loot, getting yourself from nearly dead to not dying. Like, that's part of the fun. And I personally feel that if you add a methodology for users to circumvent that game loop with external input, be it financial or otherwise, you kind of take out a big chunk of the fun. Having a big clan that supports its own is great, but that's not the same as I paid $2. Now I get to fire off a flare that will give me supplies I need. So anyway, let's pull back from H1Z1 because I could. I have opinions. All right, nowhere is safe. That's hyperbole. Ooh, gloves.
Yeah, I don't know if a skin shop is something we would ever add to Miscreated or not. There hasn't been any work done or anything like that. Speaking from the business standpoint, you have to have revenue to keep a game going.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just the realistic. It's just the way it is. You have to have revenue. And if you want a game if you love a game and you want a game to be around for many years, you need to realize that there has to be a revenue stream there somehow. And so a lot of times people will add skin shops and so forth to cause that revenue stream to happen.
Yeah.
And some of it is maybe because of pure greed, but others are because, hey, we need the revenue stream in order to keep, developing and enhancing the game over the next several years. So we haven't made a decision one way or the other in that regard. But it's pretty obvious. When you think about it, that if you want a game to be around for several years, the game has to be funded. All that development for many years has to be funded somehow.
Yeah. And any methodology by which you can continue to generate revenue after a game has come out means that a game can be supported for longer.
To me, like, this is one of those cases where we always try to be really honest with the community. It's like, if we were to implement something like that, it would be, okay, we want the game to be around for many years, and we need a revenue stream to do it. That's why we're doing it. It isn't because we're trying to bleed every last penny out of every person that plays this game. It's because you need the revenue stream.
You're telling your user base, hey, if you want to support this game, you want to see it coming, buy some funky fresh skins.
Yep.
But it's also saying is that, hey, you bought the game. That game is yours. You're not going to have to pay for the slightly better canteen pack, or you want to go to the city? I'm really sorry, you didn't buy the Miscreated season pass, so no funky city for you. It's not gated content. It's not separating users into different pools. And while I do feel there have been some nefarious individuals using that business model, of all the ways that one can fund, cosmetics and non-consumables are ones I approve of. Sorry, this is Will going on a feckin' opinion quest. It's like a vision quest, but more boring. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I will also put my hand up and say that as soon as I saw some of the ooh, that's a gun. Some of the content. Ooh. Sorry, trank gun.
That's a primary, so you might want to drop your trank gun, which don't work on AI now.
Hey, great minds think alike, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now, now I have a machine gun. What does that take? That takes 9
millimeter. Yep.
Those are 45s. Okie dokie. No, so what I was going to add was that I DM'd Terry as soon as I saw the skins were going to be in this, and I was like, Terry, I want a longship skin. And Terry's like, that does not make business sense. Also,
we tried to keep. This goes back to the discussion with the kiosks as well. We tried to keep everything so it's realistic in the game world.
Yeah.
We wanted the kiosk to be an in-game way of applying skins, like it's 3D printed. We wanted there to be a lore behind it and a reason why it's in the game and all this type of stuff. And the same thing goes with skins. We try to keep the skins realistic. We don't want silly skins and dumb, funny skins, and that'll come with modding support. If somebody wants to create some clown skin and load that on their server, that's their business, right? But
I would also. I'd like to thank all the lovely people that have been throwing follows, and I would also like to remind my lot, no, we will not be modding in a spider clown skin for the Miscreated. There are already spiders in this. They're horrifying. You all don't even know yet.
So that's kind of, the core game we want to keep, it's kind of the scope idea where, you have a scope and you want to stay within that scope and not, expand too much.
Oh, and Terry, I do apologise. I didn't mean that story as a Terry didn't give me what I wanted. I just meant that as a Will gets overexcited, and this is why you have this is why you have a grown-up when it comes to business when making games, because otherwise you have 8 clown skins and...
understood. So anyway, that's kind of the whole stance on the skins and so forth at this point. Let me see here.
And while you're having a look for some lovely, lovely questions, to those of you that have joined us, what ho and welcome! It is lovely to make your acquaintance. Those who have come back from yesterday, it is lovely to see you again. I am joined by Terry and Matt, who are both developers for this game that I'm playing right now, The Miscreated, and they are answering your questions. Initially, we were talking about the history of The Miscreated and how it made it to version 1. Now we're just jamming and answering questions. And after that, after that, I've got some fun stuff to talk about with Terry and Matt. So yeah, we've got ourselves a lovely afternoon. Grab yourself a beverage, a cup of tea, a pint, or whatever is appropriate for your time zone, and join us.
So there's a couple of questions here I'll answer. One was from I Am One Shot. What are your biggest development costs? The biggest development cost for us is salaries by far. Paying your employees is always going to be your biggest cost.
Number 2 is caffeine, right? Just like coffee, tea.
Yeah, and I would say second to that is kind of all the third-party costs with anti-cheat and AI solutions, and we use another company to do sound effects. Kind of all those outsourced costs for us is the second biggest one.
Yeah, actually, I think it's worth re-saying because there's a few new names in chat from my lot. Is that like the people are the biggest expense in video games. The salaries to pay them and the amount of time it takes to create a game is really where the cost comes from. I can't say if that's the same in other creative similar industries, but definitely in video gaming, it's usually referred to as man hours. I'm trying to get into the habit of using dev hours just to, to be more inclusive. Just like I use more horrendous swearing to be more inclusive. But that's the big cost. Making a video game, when they say a game costs millions and millions of dollars, that's going on paying the people who are making it. So,
yeah, exactly.
Rockstar games cost, billions to make because they have like 600 or 700 people plus across 2 locations per game.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, GTA 5 was what I think I'd heard $500 million to create the game or something. I mean, you're talking an enormous amount of money.
Yeah, oh, and yes,
And
so
that's kind of scary to tell
yeah,
to think about. We need to make $500 million out of sales just to cover the cost of the game,
just to
and then
hit.
we need to make exactly just to hit even, and we need to make more of that if we want to keep the company going.
Yeah,
So honestly, that kind of thing would scare me.
yeah,
Yeah,
because we've seen 2018 was brutal. The amount of devs that just keeled over because
Yeah.
they just couldn't keep the machine going.
Hmm.
And again, this is not throwing stones. My heart goes out to everybody who lost their jobs with Telltale going under. But their thing was rather than making one massive project, they kept spooling up more and more and more. And each of these projects wasn't making their return back. And they were spending money on licenses atop. Like, that terrifies me too. That kind of battleship game dev is horrifying because all it takes is one bad game. Like, let's say you make a stupendous title, but at launch there's a horrendous game-breaking bug that somehow managed to sneak through, and because of that, it's rejected by users and fans at launch. You don't have time to wait for you don't have 6 months to recover your user base and then have one of those like rags to riches recovery stories. You got to sort it now, and that we're not talking about. Oh well, I guess no one's getting their gold-plated Ferraris this year. You're like, no, people aren't paying their mortgages this year.
yeah, exactly.
And sorry, it's something I feel very, very strongly about, and I think that sensible budgeting and sensible planning is actually one of the best disciplines in video gaming. Sorry. Thank you for letting me go on this, once again, Will's opinion quests! We don't know where they're going, and we don't know how he got here. Also,
Nope, you're perfectly fine. Let's see. There was another question about are you going to transfer to Epic Store for bigger share? So for some of those that may not be aware, Epic Games, the developer of Unreal Engine and Fortnite, they announced that they're going to have their own store to sell video games through and compete essentially directly with Steam is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the advantage there is they're giving a lot more of a percentage of the royalties for a game to the developers than Steam is.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Steam currently charges 30% for the average developer. For everyone else, I think it's what is it? So for everyone it's 30. If you're super super high level, sorry, Repair Kit, you're not. For everyone else, it is 30. If you're super high level, I think it goes up to like 28%.
Yeah, so it's a huge chunk of the game, So kind of look at it this way for Miscreated as an example. Let's say it's on, we used to have it on sale for $10.
Yeah.
And so you sell the game for $10 on Steam. Steam takes 30% of it, so that's $7 going to developers, and then Steam takes taxes out of that as well. And so now you're about $6.20 or something that goes to developers. And then you have to take refunds out of that for everybody that refunds the game. And so as a general rule, most developers get somewhere around 50 to 60% of the sale price of each game is all. And so if you're selling a game for $10, about $5 to $6 ends up going to the developers to develop the game.
Yeah,
and it's a pretty big hit.
Guess who found the squeegee? It's Will. Will found the squeegee.
There you go.
The helmet as well that you passed is a pretty rare one, I think. Doesn't spawn often.
The golden.
Yep, the football helmet I think is a special one, a better one. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'll take that. Yeah, it makes my guy look like even more of a. He's a Chad. He's definitely a Chad now. I'm playing as a Chad.
So back to the Steam store thing while you're playing quickly. So we have inquired of Epic to put Miscreated on the Epic store. That would be in addition to the Steam store.
Yes.
But at this point, the response we got back from Epic is that they're only allowing hand-picked games. The Epic or somebody is picking and allowing on the Epic store for at least the first half of 2019 and possibly throughout 2019. So we just have to wait until there's some future point where we can submit our game to Epic like everybody else does.
Yeah.
You know, we're not a big company. We don't have any ins at Epic. We don't have any way of trying to sneak our game in or get it in there early. We just have to wait. And so don't expect that until probably at least the latter half of 2019. But we will put it on there. There's no reason not to.
I don't like that you're being discluded, but I do think that it's smart business practice on their part, not to just open the floodgates, because, you know, one of the other critiques of Steam is that since they moved from being a curated platform to an open platform, like, at least what we saw before the Steam stats started going a bit screwy and a bit dark, was that whilst more users are using Steam than any other, and revenue is still going through, the amount of new games that people are buying is actually going down. People are just buying more of the same. So what we're seeing is, at least from my extrapolation, is that the games industry, users are buying more of the same games. Wow, I just killed my point. I'm going to have a sip of tea as I look at this gorgeously modelled toilet.
Yeah.
Gaming is wider, but people are buying the same thing.
I kind of love the way how Epic is extremely aggressive, and we already kind of see how it's going to work. If you've seen Division 2 is not going to release on Steam. It's going to release on Epic Store and on their platform, which is Uplay. Because Uplay is pretty much 100% of your everyone that's buying it on Uplay, they don't have to pay anything basically to like on Steam, and on Epic Store then they get a bigger share. So why will you not do that? And I'm pretty sure there's probably a deal with Epic, like we allow you to sell your game on our store, but it's exclusive to Epic probably because they want to get more people to come to the store and start using Steam, not Steam, but start using the Epic store. So I guess there's kind of a deal there.
Absolutely, and you know, platforms are launched on titles. I say this with love because I use Discord every day. Discord is where my community is. Discord is where I converse with my friends and my people. It's both like the biggest part of my business and the biggest part of my social life. But their launching of the Discord store, while admirable, it didn't launch with a title. No one signs up for platforms because this one looks pretty good. You know, we go where the games are. That is what people do. And Epic have the user base already because the Epic Store is part of the Epic Launcher, which has Fortnite. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Valve made it big with, and it's cold, so this is the point where Will freezes to death in the snow. It's been a good run. It's been a good run, but I'm going to keep going.
You know, I completely understand what Epic's doing. I'm not, saying anything bad about them at all from a business standpoint. It makes perfect sense to, curate it at the first, make sure everything's running well, get some popular titles on there, build up hype.
Hell yeah, but they don't have
all that.
Your title on there, so I have beef with them now. Like I could be grumpy on your behalf. I'm independent now. I'm allowed.
I wish we were on there, but it is what it is, and so. But we will put the game on there. There isn't any reason not to do it. The one advantage that Steam still has, Steam has all of the back end services like the Steam inventory, all those kind of back end systems and services that Epic doesn't have implemented yet. Although Epic has announced that they are implementing kind of all the same type of back end services.
Okay.
But some of those won't be online until the end of 2019, even the end of this year.
I'm
Okay.
guessing if we were to release our game on Epic Store right now, Kiosk wouldn't work because there's no way of. They don't have the system for it.
Yeah,
So it would have been a different build basically on the Unreal Store.
yeah, it wouldn't be integrated with Steam at all, and so you would have to use Epic's authentication system.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I do want to get back to this because this is a really important thing, that if you have back-end services that how they run is an important part. But I've just walked into a winter area as the snow is coming through. This is, forgive my swearing one and all, this is fucking gorgeous. Have you seen this? This is amazing.
And if you're lucky, you'll get hit by the blizzard at the end of it. That's going to be fun.
Here's hoping. I saw one Z on the road. I'll kill him. Job's a good one. My body temperature's dropping. I don't know why I'm excited about this, because it probably means I'm a die. Yep, this character doesn't have... Alright, so I'm going to eat all my chocolate. Oh wow, that chocolate did not agree with me.
I need to inspect everything before you consume them.
Sounds like something... That sounds like something a boring person would do.
Yeah, in 1.0, Will, the survival aspects got kicked up, so any what we call pre-war item you find in the world, like tins of tuna and cans and drinks, all those could be possibly poisoned and or irradiated. So anything you find and pick up, you'll want to check before you eat it now.
So Terry, I just want to acknowledge what you have just told me so that people in chat can understand. You just told me that if I have chocolate, I should not just eat chocolate. And
yeah, you need to inspect it first.
Philosophically, Terry, I don't know if I can agree with you there. I might take umbrage with that. Have chocolate, eat chocolate.
I want you to know that one of my claims to fame in this game is I actually modeled the chocolate bar. It was the first thing that was ever added to this game, and I was very proud. It took me like days to add this chocolate bar. That's why it's called like the Evans bar or something. I don't remember what it's called now in game, but yeah,
Big
I made
Evans.
that. Yeah, Big Evans. There you go. I actually made that asset. I'm very proud of it.
That's way cool. I always thought that was just a joke that one of the team had made about you. Anyway, my guy's gonna die.
That's the one item I made. I suck at 3D art and modeling, so it was quite the accomplishment for myself.
Yeah. Although it is a really important thing to say, which is that if you are going to get into these things, having at least a base understanding and having a crack at these things is very important, because you do need to make placeholder stuff. A better artist can always come in and swap it out, but ooh,
yeah. Here's kind of along the same lines. So if you ever want to start up a business, for everybody that's listening, at the end of the day, if you don't have somebody that can do something for you, that responsibility falls on you as the owner. So if you don't have somebody that can model or animate or level design or whatever, you have to do it. You have to learn it and figure it out and be willing to do it. And if you're not willing to kind of take over and help on any task at all, then you're kind of in the wrong business at that point.
It's a Christmas miracle. It's a crossbow Christmas miracle.
Okay. There's a couple of other questions. So night vision goggles, no plans to add night vision goggles into the base game. They are, people that play DayZ mod know why. They're extremely overpowering. If you get those items in a game, it completely shifts the balance of power. That's something that if somebody wants to mod into the game, someday go for it. But yeah, those won't be part of the base game.
I mean, that's one of the beauties of modding, is things like that, is that, well, you have to look at, the experience for everyone as a whole. If a modder particularly wants to create a very specific kind of experience, like, yo, just fucking go for it. Because that's not... If you added night vision goggles to the base game, then they would be a very overpowered piece of kit that everyone would have. And that's a bit bad. But
yeah, it completely imbalances the game at night if somebody can see at night. I mean, it just completely destroys the any sense of equality at all. I mean, you have people right now you encounter with like if you're a fresh spawn running around, you encounter people with machine guns, and it's very imbalanced. But imagine that person with the machine guns and sniper rifles that can also see you at night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly insane how much
And
overpowering that is.
we did see how overpowered it is without even adding it, because people were using third-party software like NVIDIA thing to boost their gamma during night, while other players were just playing with it, the vanilla experience. So we had to address that at some point because it was getting out of hand. Everyone was just boosting their gamma and be able to see at night and shoot people from across the map and during nighttime, which is not the way we wanted things to be. So we needed to address that. Adding in after that, just adding in the night vision goggle would just pretty much render what we did useless.
Mm.
Yeah.
So nope, no night vision goggles. Sorry.
I see. So, there's a pack of wolves, but they haven't seen me. Cool. So, actually, I wanted to articulate on that point into a more positive idea, which is that are there any things that you've added to accommodate user play that you didn't expect? So, I mean, you mentioned the megaphones and silly things like that, but are there elements that players have done as the standard? Not third-party modification per se, but player behavior you did not expect that you have now accommodated and included into the game.
That's a great question. I'm trying to think of some cases.
Hey, I told you, I'm good at what I do. Occasionally, sometimes.
You know what? We do listen to suggestions. Our Discord community, there's a suggestions channel with a lot of suggestions, and there's some good suggestions that go through there. Unfortunately, you can't implement. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but fortunately, you can't add everything that everybody wants, or else the game would be a complete nightmare and mess. But so you have to be still selective. You still have to stay with your game's vision as far as what you decide to incorporate. And a lot of those suggestions, if the modding community decides they want them, they can add them to their game, to their servers, which is fine with us. That's the whole purpose of modding, right? Is let them kind of do whatever they want.
Yes. Numbers was just asking if my vision is blurry because I'm shivering. Yeah. And I might have eaten a poison chocolate bar, but really, what is a little mildly irradiated chocolate between friends?
Yeah, radiation, and then the bouncing is the shivering from being cold.
And that's going to affect with my aim, isn't it?
Yeah, if you shiver right as you aim, it'll mess it up. Yeah.
So, wait, Woodhaven's where we started, wasn't it? Wait, did I get turned around?
Yep.
Oh, that's not a weapon. Back, foul beast! I'll fucking do yous! Sorry. Alright, well, let's go check out that little military base, and if I manage to survive for 2 seconds, hopefully I can find a coat, and then we can go from there.
Somebody earlier asked an interesting question. It's like, what thing, and this is I am one shot again. He says, what are things, if you had unlimited dollars, would you spend the money on to improve Miscreated?
Ooh, that is a good one. So, like, infinite cash, and that is also adding the old adage my friend used to say, which is, if you forgive the term, 9 women can't make a baby in a month.
I already know what Terry's going to say on that one. I'm sure of it. I'm sure.
Well,
I'll let him go.
There are 2 thoughts here. One is you can add more of the same, right? And so we say, okay, well, we're going to go out and hire 50 more developers. We're going to create another map. We're going to add, more players. We're going to add more unique-looking AI. But at the end of the day, that's just kind of more of the same. We can add different-looking vehicles. Somebody earlier mentioned there's all kinds of different vehicles in GTA 5. If you had more money, you could add more of the same.
True.
But the other one would be, okay, what are the limitations currently of Miscreated, and how can we fix those those limitations? For example, if you wanted 200 players on a server, what would that take? Or if you wanted a map that was 8 times the size, what would that take? So those are the type of things that I think would be a lot more justified to spend money on. Is okay, how do you take Miscreated and expand it so it's bigger rather than just copy paste assets essentially. And so that's what it would be, is how do we add more players, AI, bigger maps, all that type of stuff to the game.
Wow, this run really, really wants me to have a trank gun. So I guess that's what we're doing. If there's any, of course, there's no trank rounds because I left those up on the bloody mountain. Sorry, oh no, a crossbow without rounds is way better than a trank gun without rounds.
I think you can craft bolt as well
I
for
think I
the
can.
crossbow. Yeah.
How I cannot remember for the life of me, but
I
let's
think
see
you
what
need an
this
hammer
yields.
and some metals and woods, and I'm not quite sure yet.
It's also weird seeing this base all covered in snow. It's weirdly quiet. I'm like, shouldn't there be some horrific spider beast trying to tear me asunder at this point? I find
Yeah,
this smoke really
might be. I
weird.
might have one close. They usually spawn around those area, military outposts and all that.
Yeah, we discussed adding unique AI during weather effects, and we just haven't done that. Um, but I do agree with you. That's one of the things even though I'm the developer of the game, the one thing is I love is the weather effects in the game. They really make the game stand out. And now that the temperature affects the player, it's even more interesting.
Yep, I'm using smoke grenades because I can. I do not expect that my poor character is going to survive much longer. As this is a little bit of a hotspot here.
Yeah, this is kind of what I mentioned earlier. The way that I kind of envision survival in a game working like this is, and just kind of repeat for people who weren't here. You don't want
Please
generally
do.
one thing to kill a player. You want it to be a combination of things. It's that okay, Will's irradiated, and
Mildly
he's
irradiated, thank you.
yeah, and he's cold because he doesn't have the equipment he needs. His health's low. Not his health, but his food and water are both a little bit low, so he's having problems regenerating his health. And
But
so it's kind of the whole combination of things that you want it to be. A player has to be concerned about, and it's damaging. That could cause you a death. Is you have to kind of fix all those little parts that will make you die.
but I got a heat pack. Nice.
Yep,
There
that
you
will
go.
help.
Some more ledgers. Ooh, antibiotics. I'll scarf those down. Yeah.
Oh, antibiotics. Yep. There you go.
Yep. Originally we had the one radiation storm in the game. Well, it's still in the game, but it was just toned down. Where you got stuck in one radiation storm and you were pretty much dead if you couldn't get somewhere safe. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of internal discussions and disputes over the fact about it. And my general feeling was, we still want it to be dangerous, but it's kind of unfair in a way to players if there's one particular thing like that that can just outright kill you.
Indeed.
From a survival aspect. Obviously an AI can kill you or a player can kill you, but from a survival aspect, you want to be able to give the player a chance to survive. For example, right now, if your food and water were all the way full and you weren't irradiated, you'd still be having a little bit of an issue, but not nearly as concerned about dying.
Yeah. Whereas, as it currently stands, that's a very, very real thing that could happen. Probably going to freeze to death. But it's creating the... Ooh, revolver. It's creating that situation where there's... flexibility is the wrong term, but where there's... Oh, there's a really good design term for it, where it's not... Where death conditions aren't an immediate, where there's a certain amount of elasticity to them. Like, I'm not going to get killed... apart from by my own stupidity, by something immediately. But what will happen is that a combination of situations will come together, and I'll probably have a bad time about that.
Yeah. So that's kind of the idea behind survival miscreated. It's a combination.
And I really like that.
That's kind of deadly.
Sorry, I'm just enjoying the snow environment. This is so cool.
And this is something that we changed. The default version of CryEngine, snow doesn't affect vegetation at all. It was only on the terrain, and so that's one of the things that where the programmers changed is to so the snow actually works on the trees and the grass and everything in the game. So it looks a lot better than other CryEngine games when there's like a snow type effect.
Guess who's got a scope and a rifle? Now, give me about 20 seconds until I do something really dumb and get myself killed. Like, 20... This is where I died. This is at the beginning of the stream when I started, and I was looking out across here. This is where I died.
Yeah, that might be it. Yep.
So, if I head that way down the road, that's going to take me to Woodhaven. If I head up, that should take me towards the city, right?
Yeah, that...
So
yeah, you want to go to your left, essentially there.
Okie dokie, let's go for a walk. Where I will proceed to freeze to death. So, I do apologise, I've not been the most communicative of individuals with you lovely, lovely folks in chat. But yeah, If you've just joined us for the last couple minutes, I'm playing just a little bit of face rolly Miscreated. With any luck, I will be playing with a bunch of you lot later on this afternoon whenever it is that I have to say goodbye to Terry and Matt. Although I should say to you both, you are cordially invited to come along. I stream for very, very long periods, and I thoroughly like it. So, yeah. So you're both welcome to stay as long as you would like. But later on, yeah, we'll pick a server and we'll all face roll. Probably half of you will murder me repeatedly, and half of you will cackle maniacally as I'm murdered repeatedly. But you're all invited.
Let's see.
Go for it.
I was just gonna go through a couple more of the comments on in your chat here.
Please do. Again, we've played a lot of Miscreated here. Not as much as some of your fans, obviously, but yeah, I'm happy to have you guys here.
Yeah, there's probably, I don't know if some of them are in chat, but we have some people that are pretty insane. There's people with over 3,000 hours now in Miscreated, so.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a few.
I think I'm just shy of 100.
Yep. Yeah. There's people that play this game a lot. So you're gonna be in a blizzard now, so your temperature is gonna be even more affected. So yeah, I would get inside the house.
Yeah.
I called it.
You did. You called it. And as this is the only house for Miles in a blizzard, I see no way that this is a straight up horror film.
You may. Do you have any lighter or matches?
I was wearing a heat pack for a while. It was
No.
pretty good.
You want to check in the kitchen and in crannies and whatever to try to find matches and maybe craft a campfire there, or maybe just blow up that jerry can outside to get a bit of the heat from the fire there.
That?
Yeah,
I think that works.
That jerry can in the garage.
So what do I need to do? Just pop a couple of rounds in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend even doing it in the house. Just throw it in one corner of the kitchen and stand way back and shoot it and warm yourself up.
Yep.
That sounds lovely. Right, let's do that.
Maybe wait until your temperature is a little bit more below, because you're sitting at 36, which is not that bad, honestly, right now.
I found a guide to make stairs. That's useful, I'm told.
Yep, but you definitely need something like lighter or.
So in the kitchen, one of the changes we made for 1.0 was, and this is something I don't think we ever disclosed, but anytime you see cabinets that have doors that are completely closed, then those are the ones you can search for items inside of. And if it's a cabinet that has a door open, then you can't do like a search on it, if that makes sense. So like that one you can't search. That one would have items just sitting there. But the one below there, since the doors are completely closed, there's a chance that you can find items hidden in them.
Yeah, and I'm assuming I just find the item that's like, here is all food and safety you could possibly need.
Yeah, and.
Oh no, it's salt.
Yeah, lighters and matches, the best place to find those are in kitchens. You can find them a lot in kitchen items, but looks like you got... Not this time, yep.
I got a frozen carrot. Right, so let's go get that jerry can, let's drag it in, and then I will light that Mother Hubbard up.
Somebody mentioned this earlier in chat, too. One of the changes we made in 1.0 is you can now refill items partially. So when you find a jerry can or a water canteen or something in the game world, it'll only be partially full of liquid. Where the fluid is in it. And a jerry can, when you shoot it, as long as there's anything in it at all, will create the fire effect. But the explosive force from it is determined by how much fluid is inside the container. So if it's completely full, it'll explode like it did prior to 1.0. But if it's only 10% full, then it'll only have like 10% of the explosive force, if that makes sense. All right, so that was one of the changes we did make.
All right, so jerry can is down. How do I I've got some oil on me. Is that worth putting in there?
No. Okay. Just go clear down the hallway as far away as you can and shoot it. I'd go down the other one.
Okay. And I've got one bullet left with my smug.
Yeah.
All right. And I squiffed it. Good shot, Will. Good shot.
Well, it may take more than one shot, one hit. But...
I've got some 9... there we go. Piece of cake, got some 9 mil left. And, okay, I have not been calling out all the lovely people who've been throwing follows, like Top Fuel, Shazbot, Smokey's Smoke Dry Stout. Oh, does anyone else fancy a pint now? I think I do. There we go. Alright, so welcome to Will's Cooking Kitchen. I'll be your host, Will, and today we are going to be on fire. Try not to be too on fire. This game looks so fucking good! Maybe it's just spending too long in the presence of shaders, but let's get a little closer. Oh no, that's me on fire.
It's going to warm you up.
What is it? Set a man on fire and he'll be warm for the rest of his life. That is literally...
Yep.
I mean, I'm not cold anymore. As Nisco says, flame on!
Yep.
'Twas the night before Christmas. And
It's
all
kind of a
through the
dangerous
house.
way. Kind of a dangerous way to stay warm, but it works.
Terry was laughing, and so was the mouse. Will was on fire. What the feck did he do?
Let's see. If you don't mind, I'll go through a couple more questions here.
Of course, of course.
So we did release a DLC called the Iron Suns DLC as part of 1.0 that adds skins to the game. Well, it adds unique skins, and it also has some maps and wallpapers and some stuff like that. That's kind of exclusive stuff. So somebody's asking, are we going to work on adding content to it? Yeah, that's the plan. Is when we add new weapons, we'll add skins to the DLC as well. So you'll get a free skin for the new weapon. And if there's other stuff that makes sense to add to the DLC, we'll just throw it in the same DLC.
It was something that I saw the EVE Online team do, and I really appreciated that. Which is they did like a collector's edition with a cosmetic skins pack as part of, and they've continued to add to it over the years, which I've really appreciated.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever do other DLC or not, but this one is kind of like the main DLC that we would ever have. And you can buy the Iron Suns bundle or the Iron Suns edition of Miscreated. You get the game and the DLC. And so that particular DLC is the one that we'll keep adding to over time and enhancing as it makes sense.
Way cool.
And so people that buy it will just get free stuff, whenever.
I mean, if you ever decide you're going to be adding skins to the megaphone, I believe me and my crew can make a very strong case.
Yeah, we've actually had people recommend that even in our chat to do megaphone skins, and so I don't know if we will or not. It's possible.
Okay, so we've had a lot of excellent questions on the Miscreated. We've had a lot of questions on where it's going. And Go Pirate Software, who is a friend of mine, Thor, who's a fellow game developer, who is working on a title called Heartbound, just pops in and says, I have come into a kitchen filled with demon light. Good job, Will. Hey, Thor, you missed me set myself on fire, dying on a bike, and guess who found a gnome in a toilet? This guy. So what I wanted to ask you is, so Terry, what are you happy to talk about with your upcoming projects, the one you've been working on the back burner? We touched on it a little earlier, but I'd like to ask you, ooh, that turned off very quickly. How's it going?
So the other one we've talked about that's been around for quite a while is Rebel Horizons, and just to be blunt, we're trying to decide what to do with that particular game. It's been in development for quite a while, but it's an extremely small team that's been working on it. We did have a version of it we let people play. What's it been, 9 months ago or something? It's been a while now.
Okay.
Where people joined into the server and ran around, and it's very simple. But they could shoot each other, and the lifts and the base worked. And I don't know if you guys have seen videos, but there's probably videos on YouTube of it. And they could shoot the AI in the game that we had in the time and so forth. And so we're trying to kind of figure out what to do with that game as far as for the future of it. And it's something that we would love to make. I think it would do really well with a vision we have, but it's definitely going to cost money. And so it's possible we'll do a Kickstarter for it,
Okay.
or something else to kind of fund the development of that game. But
you haven't decided quite yet whether to continue and how to continue.
Right. There's been interest in it, obviously, from a lot of people. But now it's just we just need to make a business decision of kind of how do we proceed with that game.
Okay.
In order to make the game, obviously, we have to hire more people if we want to get done in any reasonable amount of time. And hiring people costs money, so you have to have some type of a revenue there. whether it's Kickstarter or pre-sales or whatever, to start hiring more people to develop the games that get done. And so that's when we'll be deciding, probably within the next month, on how we want to proceed with that game.
I mean, I realised that I didn't even ask you the important question. So, what is this project? What is its goal? What is its idea? Here was me talking about it in abstracts. Is that anything you're happy to talk about now?
Yeah, definitely. So, Rebel Horizons is what we started with when we started teaming up with Improbable about 3 years ago. And I don't know if you remember the game or not, Will.
I do indeed, but I do... Oh, that is a lot of dogs.
Yeah. So kind of the general, I'll go, like I said, the best thing to do is probably go look up a video of it on YouTube. There's a couple on our Entrada Interactive channel on YouTube, but we let people stream the version that we let them play. So there's probably some people, you can find some streams of it on
That's
YouTube
really
as
cool.
well. But the general concept is kind of think of a Star Wars style universe, kind of sci-fi based, but kind of the dirty outer rim, lawless areas of Star Wars, not the gleaming, shining, everything metallic, perfect looking Star Wars. We're talking about the dirty, dusty stuff. So that's kind of the setting of Rebel Horizons, is that type of a setting. And then it'll be an exploration game. It's planetary exploration. There isn't any space travel in the game. But then we added some concepts from like Stargate, if you know the Stargate movies.
Oh, hell yes.
There are these quantum gates that players can use that can teleport them to other planets.
Okay.
And so you can be on a desert planet, you go through a gate, and then all of a sudden you're on a snowy planet, you go through a gate, you're on a destroyed civilization planet, that type of an idea. And so the quantum gates give us the ability to be very creative on what we add. We could have a prehistoric planet with dinosaurs if we wanted, or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of whatever we want to do at that point. But that's kind of the idea behind it. It's kind of a sci-fi game, but a dirty, dusty, dingy-looking world type of idea.
Not happy with having to kill these doggos, but that's how we're doing. Oh no! See, Go Pirates got a dog in their game, and J-Post are giving me 100 bits with a little dog face on, just so I can feel guilty in 3D. Look, all right. It's cold. There are literal wolves. Liam Neeson did a movie about this. All right. It's not making me feel good. Terry, your game is making me feel things.
They're wolves. They're not puppies. You're fine.
Every dog is puppy. Every dog is puppy. Actually, maybe I can. Is it better to use a? Oh, why did I get rid of my hatchet?
Yeah, you got a crowbar there.
I do have a crowbar. That'll do. I mean,
No.
what's the range on this Mother Hubbard? I'm cold. Maybe swinging at some doggos will warm me up. I can't get to them. If I get down there, I'm going to get shredded. Oh.
Yeah, they're kind of implemented like a little bit of a wolf pack, where if you kill one, the rest usually run away.
I guess.
So a lot of times you can kill one, and then some of them will run away and then come back and so forth.
Like that.
And they do. Yeah. And they do. Well, so it turns out that I'm the bad guy in this world. Again.
And they're back.
Yeah, so it gives you about 10 seconds to run somewhere before they come back.
And I'm cold. I've got 3 rounds left. Alright, so there's one doggo out there. Oh!
Baron remembers.
And Go Pirate also said Baron will remember that. Oh, God. Oh, God. Alright, I think final doggo's not coming back. Hi. So, I'm a baddie. How are you?
So you can get the wolf meat from them. And then if you can find a lighter, you can cook the wolf meat. So in Miscreated, if you get fresh food, like if you plant crops and get vegetables, or you cook food, then those are always perfectly safe to eat. And cooked meat gives you a lot of food back as well.
If you find salt, I think you can cure the meat as well. Doesn't give
Yeah,
as much as cooking it though.
there was one earlier, but I don't know if you picked it up. Do you have salt in your inventory, or did you not get it? I don't remember.
No, I think he left it.
Well, hi, I'm the villain. How are you all? Alright, let's take that wolf meat. Is there anything I can build with pelts? Can I build some clothing?
No, I think you can craft a
He does have salt in there. You
Oh,
do have
so
some salt.
So I
Oh, you
craft some
do.
cured meats.
Yep.
But the pelts, I think you can craft uh, a rug for your base, and you can also craft a water ski.
Well, that sounds fun. I think I'm all right for those supplies. All right. So what we're gonna do? So inventory, crafting, consumable, food, cured wolf meat, raw meat, salt. Cured meat, tough but tasty. All right, that'll get our food up, and then we've got some water. Nice, you weren't kidding. That's really good. So inspect. This appears to be fine. Drink. Drink some more. I'm also a bit of a cheeky Mother Hubbard that when I feel like I'm about to keel over, I consume literally everything that I have so that whoever has decided that they're going to murder me gets nothing. Good day, sir. I said good day. So, Go Pirate says, what is your current objective in this world? Is it all survival? Yes. So Go Pirate, the Miscreated is a pure kind of survival game with a flavoursome hint of Zombocalypse. And this is one of the titles I've been playing off and on. I believe I mentioned it to you in the past when you and I have been chatting. This was made in CryEngine. And the end of, when was it? Was it December you guys hit version 1?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that way that... I think I want to head that way to the city, right? Before I freeze to death. What does that say? Something backwards.
Yeah, even in getting in the bus helps. You just have to have walls around you, essentially.
Alright.
But you'll still get cold, but you don't get cold as quickly. No, that one doesn't open, sorry.
It's worth a shot. It was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Oh. Alright, well, we'll just continue up the road, and if I freeze to death, then so be it. I'm actually impressed with how long we have gone on this run. I expected that I was going to be murderated by humans far sooner. And, you know, if I freeze to death, then I'll leave a good-looking corpsicle.
Yeah. Well, you were at the first, but, you know, they're all doing the same thing. They're all trying to survive right now, which is good. Because players that are prepared and ready, this gives you a chance to run around a lot more on the map where everybody else has to hunker down and wait.
Yeah, Ahaship was saying, now John Wick has spawned on the map. Will run, because you can't stop him. Oh, here's a cool thing.
If I can answer just one question quick.
Please do.
Someone just asked if we have plans to improve overall the sounds, especially the gun sound. The R style sounds like a pen gun when shooting and whatnot. And we do have plans to. Actually, it's being worked on right now. They will sound probably more along the way of the new weapons we added. If you tried the new weapons, I think we added like 15 of them or something. Those all use new sound and they sound pretty good.
Way cool. I will miss the sounds because while I understand they don't quite have that the meaty impact, they do feel iconic. And there's a certain satisfaction from the amount of times where I've spawned and died of finally getting like a long rifle and a scope and finally feeling like now I know what I am doing. All right, let's see what we got in here before I freeze to death.
Yeah, and somebody else asked about animations. A lot of that is part of the polish phase for 1.0 now. I know that he's been the person that asked the question has been around for quite a while. Prior to 1.0, pre-alpha was all about adding features to the game, fixing like major issues in the game. But now the focus is shifting more towards polishing and kind of bug fixes in general. And a lot of those little animations are all polish. Those just make the game look better and more immersive, that type of stuff. So those will be coming.
Okay.
I think I've seen last week the shotgun reload animation. I think Farzad shared it maybe on Discord to show it off. Maybe on Twitter. I'm not quite sure, but I think I've seen this one
Way cool.
last week.
Yeah, so a lot of that polish, you guys will be seeing, coming online the next, several updates.
That's way cool. And oh, some more cured meats. Craft up some of that. You know what? I apologise that the point I was about to ask you, lovely gentlemen, just dropped right out the back of my head. Go Pirate wants to point out that I just skipped over the cowboy hat. I'm sorry, Thor. Maybe you haven't seen my golden football helmet and my baseball bat. Yep, that's right. My guy's a jerk. But he's a jerk with cured meats. Actually,
That gold football helmet's kind of rare too, so
Hmm.
you want to keep that one.
Hells yeah. I don't need 2 stacks of oil. I think I was just keeping oil for that thing you were talking about. Anyway, so I think we were here earlier, and I must have gone back up into the woods. Or died horribly, that was probably it. Because I believe if I follow the road towards the highway, that gets me closer towards the city. I feel like I'm doing rather well.
See, somebody's asking about thoughts on the kind of the more rare weapons.
Go on.
So in the bunkers, you have a good chance to find some of these, rare weapons and gold-plated weapons and stuff now in the bunkers. The new bunkers that were added.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit too easy to find them, and players will go in there and camp and log out and log back in, and exploit the game mechanics to get those.
Okay.
And so those will be adjusted in the next update. So it'll be less likely that players will do that type of thing. So they won't be. They'll go back to being somewhat rare again.
And this isn't by way of a criticism, but one of the things that I've noticed in this is that a lot of users will create bases around kind of core spawn points. So around radio towers, around water sources and things like that. Was that something that you expected when you added base building as a concept, or is that something that's kind of like emergently occurred?
We knew it was going to happen. We have exclusion areas that are hard coded where you can't build bases like in cities, and around some points of interest. Some of those.
Okay.
So from playing games as many years as a lot of us played games, players will try to exploit and/or grief, at every opportunity they can. And so we try to reduce the likelihood of those having an impact on gameplay. That's why you can't, like I said, you can't build bases in cities, for example. But there's other places that are kind of still advantageous, or flat up annoying, like on the roads where players build bases.
I find those interesting because, good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. Let's get up.
And we've kind of allowed players to do that, on some of the roads, just because it's part of the game. If a player wants to do that. If it were me, when I build my bases, I go hide them off in the woods, and I don't build a big base at all. I build this little teeny base that just hides my stash of loot, and that's all I care about. I don't try to hoard vehicles or anything like that when I play. That's just my game style. But putting your base in the middle of a road and expecting it not to get raided is, pretty naive as well.
That is a good point, and that kind of point counterpoint of the bigger your base, the more viable a raid target you are, and so on and so forth. I think is very interesting. Like that, I love that as a meta. Like that concept as a meta, I think is very good.
Yeah, this is kind of the way I used to play DayZ as well. When I played the DayZ mod a long time ago, is I'd find a tent and hide it in the middle of a tree, and that's the only thing I'd ever used in the game was just a little tent in a tree.
Tents became super valuable.
And because the odds of somebody finding a tent in the middle of a bush is extremely rare. But if you have this big base out in the middle of a field, you're just asking for people to come and take your stuff. So I'd rather hide my stuff really well and never have it get raided than to have a big base and have it still get raided.
Oh.
But just difference in gameplay and philosophy. That's just the way I play.
Oh, hells yeah. And I think I want to go back to an old point. And it's not a new point. It's not anything that anyone in chat here or yourselves will be surprised to hear. But it's one of the things that makes this game and games like it so important and so impressive is it's that emergent gameplay. This game does not tell you do X, apart from survive. But you are dropped on the shores and it's like, go nuts. Just, this is your experience. From that kind of emergent storytelling gameplay stuff is hella cool. And when you see those different gameplay styles all coming together... Oops, search for clothes. We have a long sleeve shirt. It's better than a short sleeve shirt. Okay, yeah, that was definitely... Now I'm safe. Long sleeve shirt. Now's the beginning. But I think that's an important thing to highlight because, you know, before that, there wasn't really a spree of games like that that allowed those different playstyles to all careen together in such a free-form manner. And
Yeah. Graham's trying to give you directions to go back to the big city, by the way, in chat.
Oh, did I?
I'm not sure which way you're supposed to go right now, but he was telling you at one point you were going the wrong way.
Am I still going the wrong way?
Yeah, you're still going the wrong way.
Okay. I mean, I'm caught out in a blizzard. It's not gonna. This isn't gonna end well. But at very least it'll be entertaining for everyone. Got an excess of drive belts though. That might be my fallback career. I'm just gonna open a drive belt shop in one of in Sultan or somewhere like that. Come to Will's Drive Belts. We've got lots of one thing.
If you have any rounds, you can blow up another jerry can and try to warm.
I've got one bullet left. That's a bleak concept.
Yeah. Well, you may find some more in the back of cars, so we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Let's see. So some more people here. Let me kind of go through it quickly. How large is the world? It's 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers. The map says... Oh, somebody answered that in chat. Thanks, Baffy.
They got you. They got you.
Yep, they did.
I apologise once again. I had an excellent point that dropped right out the back of my skull.
So nothing specific about changes to crafting and base building yet. We have some general ideas. There's a lot of feedback that people give us about things they don't like about crafting and base building in the game, and so a lot of those we're going to look at addressing. The kind of the main thing I would say is we want to get rid of a lot of the tedious nature of it. Just because of the way that the crafting kind of evolved, and especially with base building, there's a lot of those intermediate parts and panels you have to make when you're base building, which are just annoying.
Okay.
So the plan is to get rid of some of those intermediate steps as well, and just kind of make it more fun, if that makes sense. Just I hesitate to use the word entertaining, but just take some of the boredom out of it.
That's true.
The tediousness.
Pacing is always important with these things. It was actually a conversation we were having yesterday. So, as I was saying, yesterday's stream was Alien Isolation, which is a very different experience than this, Whereas this is, free-form emergent narrative. That is straight up, linear narrative. This is the story of Amanda Ripley. And one of the things we were talking about was that, is it fun? And it's a question I've come across, and it took me a second to ponder. Alien Isolation isn't necessarily a fun game. Is it good? Oh dear lord, yes. Come on, super big duvet that's going to save my life. No usable clothes. And I almost want to put Miscreated in a similar vein. This game isn't fun. It is awesome and entertaining and really well paced. It looks gorgeous and it's a great experience. Is Miscreated fun? I mean, that seems like a weird question. You're surviving the post-fall of humanity apocalypse where everything is trying to eat, kill you, or steal your stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's an excellent point. Some of the most memorable times I've ever had in a game is when a game has been challenging.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily call it fun at the time because it can be very stressful and it's very challenging to try to accomplish a task or goal or stay alive or whatever it is. So it's more about adding gameplay to games. Some of it isn't fun. Just because of the challenging nature of it, but it's still very memorable and creates for a unique opportunity when you're going through it.
Indubitably. I mean, Pyroshades make an excellent point, which is an entertainment experience doesn't stem from being pick up and play. That's real cool. And I'm not doing it. I am not going to have yet another will rant about how length of gameplay is neither inherently good nor inherently bad. Ooh, I found some houses! I sure hope this is a good thing and not a bad thing. But I've been on this kicker at the moment, and Terry and Matt, I do not expect you to come with me once again on this opinion quest. I'm going on a lot of those today, but Let's hit these houses first. But it's my personal feels that there's been a real push towards short games as superior, and I am personally of the feels that the experience can be of any length. It is the experience itself that dictates. Oh, fanny pack. Come on, someone's got to have like a big puffy jacket or something. Oh, potassium iodide. My favourite. My favourite seasoning. The Miscreated is not a quick game. You won't see, like, unless you're prepared to dedicate a lot of time, you may not see any of the endgame content. But that's okay. It has nothing to... Oh, I found a bunker! I found a bunker! Anyway, games of every length good. Short games are not inherently better or worse. Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my brand new chat show in the lightly heated Bunker with Will, joined by my guest Hex Tack Vest, Football Pecs, and Black Scarf. Ooh, Black Scarf. Alright, check it out. I got weapon,
Yeah,
I got armor.
You should get warm. You should get warm pretty quick in the bunker too.
Actually, I'll take the weapon over the armor, because let's be honest, Will's survivability is minimal at best. Yes, one map down here. I'll put some food on. I've got some adrenaline. Oh, no, I've got some adrenaline, some aspirin. Now it's a party, friends. Okay. If anyone wants anything from the kitchen, I'm going to make something up. Let's see what we got. I've got some rotten carrot, a handful of forks, some fresh milk. The fresh is in air quotes. A bunch of knives. Got some coffee. Oh, does anyone want any coffee? I've got some rotten chicken. Ugh. Let's just not. So yeah, if anyone would like a cuppa, I've got milk and I don't know what that is.
Bleach.
Okay, so we're not going to be drinking that.
Yeah, we store our milk next to our bleach.
That is brave.
Do you want some bleach in your coffee, sir?
No, just the unbleached coffee. Oh, well, if you insist. Oh, wow, it's getting a bit chilly in here now. Oh, did I leave the door open? Was I not meant to do that?
Yeah, I don't know why the snow is flashing inside. We need to figure that out at some point.
Well, I mean, with a game your size, there are going to be edge case stuff like that. So here's a good point. So Numbers was asking if the world is randomly generated. I can answer that for you, Numbers. That this is actually a handcrafted map and it's full of tiny things to find. I don't know if we're going to make it to the city in this run. We might do later on today. But when you see the city and the amount of stuff packed in there, yo. So I Am One Shot had an interesting one, which was more of a kind of a mechanics experiential question, which is what are your thoughts on people, but it being more common to be knocked out before dying? Because I found that I actually found that was really inclusive. Like, if you're playing with a group, if you get knocked out, your friends can then protect you and you can have a longer experience, rather than necessarily like, well, you're dead. Was that an intentional thing, or is that something that's just evolved as the Miscreated has continued?
No, it was an intentional thing, just to try to help, and it's also a little bit more realistic as well. But it's never fun in a game to kind of be instantly dead. I mean, that can still happen. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it was just kind of try to reduce the likelihood of that happening. And it's also why we added non-lethal weapons. So if you want to role play more, or you just want to play, if you just don't want to kill people on sight and you'd rather just knock them out and rob them, you can have those options. It just adds more gameplay to the game is really what you're doing. Just more ways to play, more reasons to have encounters of different sorts. Anyway.
No, that's way cool, and I personally really appreciate that because as someone who plays with a large group, like having someone get knocked out, that creates a really, really emergent experience. Also, Jack Gulch, thank you kindly for filling up the bit cup. I don't know how long that'll survive, but we'll give it a shot. And who else do I need to say thank you to? I saw something pop up. I will come back to that in just a second. I keep losing these wonderful questions I had cooked up for your lovely selves. So, I guess here is my question that I've been asking a lot of people. 2018 was weird, game development wise. New platforms coming into fruition, Steam growing in size, yet seeming to lose a lot of its, I don't want to say market share, because it's still one of the massive dominant forces on the planet, but it seems no longer to be the golden victor of the games industry. And I mean, the Switch is currently where most indies are desperately rushing to head to. I don't know if you've considered doing the Miscreated on Switch.
Yeah, I don't think it would run on Switch.
No.
I don't think that's even an option. But you know, this is speaking as a consumer. I like the fact that there's other options out there. You know, it's great. You know, to be able to play some of these games on Switch or have them portable and take them wherever you want. That's great. People love it.
Hells yeah. I guess I was going to ask, are there any other thoughts or feels that you have from how the games industry has been in 2018 and what your thoughts are on how it's going to be for 2019? Because it's going to be different.
Yeah, one of the things that has been interesting for about the last year and a half is you've had some games come out on the market that are insanely popular, and because of that, it's kind of hurt other games. It's kind of you only have a fixed number of players, and when you have 25% of them playing PUBG or Fortnite, it kind of really hurts the rest of the games in the industry. They don't have as many players, they don't have as many sales. It's just kind of the way. It's just the reality of the situation. It's just kind of the way it is right now.
No, thank you, because that was the point that I was really labouring to make discussion-wise earlier. Is that between Fortnite and PUBG and other titles, like the games industry, the amount of users has increased, but the amount of variation in what people are picking up has decreased. 25% of the users are all about one particular game. They aren't going to be picking up an indie title that doesn't have an inordinate marketing budget. Yo! Oh, Terry, I'm very sorry, but I need to acknowledge some excellent people who have just decided to come face raid into our lovely conversation. Tuna Taco and friends, welcome one and all, Watto! It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce all of you raiders to Terry and Matt. They are some of the individuals who have brought to us this very game that I am playing, The Miscreated. We are chatting games development, releasing a title, surviving to version 1, survival games, surviving in general. And they've been putting up with my vaguely incoherent nonsense all day. It is lovely to see you all. How are you doing? So Terry and Matt, Tuna Taco is a fellow streamer and an excellent person who has just led 50 people in here on a raid. So, yeah. Nice. Would you both like to introduce yourselves again for this huge crew of peeps that have just joined us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my name's Terry, go by Lord Snave, and I'm one of the developers for Miscreated.
And I'm Matt, going by the name Matt, and I'm a 3D artist working on Miscreated.
And
so
you will know him by his name.
So we're just having fun, just kind of chatting with Will here, kind of about game development in general, about Miscreated, kind of about the industry, just kind of general stuff about games.
If I can go back on the topic of 2018, most likely end of 17 and 2018, I think the thing is there seems to be a new trend of what am I going to play, and going onto Twitch and seeing what popular streamers are playing. And
wait, people watch people play games on Twitch? Nah, it'll never take off. That sounds dumb.
My point is, and I've seen that again at the end of the year, people will go to Twitch and see what the streamer is going to play, and they will play that game endlessly until the streamers stop playing. And once the streamers stop playing it, then you see a huge drop in your user base, because that guy just moved on something else, and it's now becoming the new thing. Ninjas playing Fortnite. It made it extremely popular. People were jumping in, and there's just a huge group of people that jumped in the game straight away, and then it kind of blew out of proportion there. And I've seen it like lately. I've seen it with Sea of Thief. Summit started playing Sea of Thief. He got hooked on the game, and honestly, the player base of Sea of Thieves just skyrocketed in the last month because the Summit is playing it. He's the sole reason why the game has so much people right now. That's just because he plays it. So it seems to be your player base in your game seems to be highly dependable on what streamer are going to play, basically.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. From a game development perspective, if you're making a game, do you want to develop a game that's a labor of love that you want to make and because you want to, or do you want to make a game that will cater or kowtow to streamers and hopefully get streamers to play it so you can sell a lot more? So
Yeah,
it's always a
valid question
challenge.
to ask.
Yeah, it's a challenge for us, especially with a game like Miscreated. It's a survival game, so it's slower paced. You can go, many minutes without finding another player. Sometimes, an hour or two, depending just on luck or whatever. And a lot of streamers don't want to play a slow paced game because, their job is to entertain. And to entertain, they want something that's fast paced. They want something with a lot of action. They want something they can jump in and jump out of really quickly. And so those type of games usually do really well from streaming. And they're also more entertaining to watch. I'll be honest. If you like Fortnite, it's fast paced, it's action paced, it's exciting. You can get in there and see a lot of kills really quickly and jump out. So when you're developing a new game, it's like, okay, we want a game that's like that. Do we want to chase the views essentially? Do we want to go and try to cater just to develop a game that streamers will want to play, or do we want to stick with our original vision of the game and it won't be nearly as popular? But this is the game that we're passionate about and we want to make.
Yeah, and this is a no right answer situation because one will allow you to create a title and have sustainability, or at least have a bump in, whereas the other, are you losing some of your heart? Also, I've turned the sound up because I just found a guitar and I'm literally walking around the Miscreated just playing it. Maybe I get shot, maybe I don't. I'm good with that. I also would like to say once again thank you to Tuna Taco for leading a raid over. I will take good care of your friends. And one and all, thank you. Those of you who've been throwing follow, God High, Tony, Unlucky Me, all of you, thank you kindly. Follows are sincerely appreciated. This is the greatest and best song in the world. No. No, I think that is a very, very important thing to talk about, which is streaming has had a large impact. A lot of you might not know me from before, but, I worked in community and then in PR and marketing and that space. Like, content creators, streamers, all those peeps, they show a side of your game which regular PR doesn't cover, which is, hey, this is kind of fun. This really... Oh, starting to feel sick. Let's eat all the pills. All the pills. Have a little bit of water. Less thirsty. Oh, I got sick from being cold. God,
No, from drinking water.
Water's healthy.
Yeah, but you need to inspect it before.
That sounds like something.
If you get that radio and turn it on, you'll be able to hear the Geiger counter goes off if you're looking at an item which has radiation, basically. So you'll know straight away if it's poisonous or not. So you need to turn it on though. So you need to, I think, press 6 or something to bring it up.
So I will do. The reason why I'm not going to turn the radio on is I've had some very colourful individuals on the radio. I also had a great moment where I was in the city and someone got the channel and went, I'm blocked in and I can't get out. And we had this whole like, don't you die on me, soldier moment, which was something special. Alright, sorry, Revolver. Oh no, the peasants are revolving. Unload. Put that in my vest. Do that. And there we go. Now I have a pistol full of bullets. Delicious bullets. That's what we'll eat to keep us warm. Metal. Yeah. And those emergent moments. I know I'm going back to an earlier point, and I know I'm hitting on beats that we all know, but I love telling these stories about, making friends with people over the radio inside Miscreated, and then being like, I don't think I'm going to make it out of here. There's creatures at the door and I've got no bullets. I'm like, you pull yourself together. Don't you die on me. Don't you die on me. Ooh, pure water tabs. Very handy. I love that kind of stuff. And the Miscreated is neither inherently PvP or inherently roleplay. It is what the users make of it. So to have that experience on a public server, not just like, I'm going to freeze to death out here, but like in general, like that's feckin' cool, yo. Sorry, alright, I'm done. Had Will's little... I'm going to go back to playing my guitar on the road.
So if you want to go to Hayward, let's see, where are you at? I'm not quite sure. I've been paying attention to other stuff in chat.
She should probably get in the bus for a little bit and heal up somewhat.
So I think you're actually going away from Hayward right now.
I think I completely stuffed up. So let's just hope I can get into this bus for a bit. Try and eat some food and heal up. Maybe find a nice... Come on, great big puffer jacket. Come on, I've been good. No usable clothes, of course. Old Santa Claus is definitely not my friend today. So jumping back into chat, Caffeine says he might be becoming hypothermic. Ah, details. Oh, and here's a lovely thing. Spaffy was saying that one of the reasons they've stuck with Miscreated for so long is because it's incredibly immersive. And that excitement builds quickly when a battle situation does present itself. When that does happen, the Miscreated gets their blood pumping like no other game out there. And I've got to agree. It's not... When those situations go down, when it's all on the line, like, you've worked to get there. And it's... Yeah. It's real cool. Sorry. As me, I guess getting overly enthusiastic. Shocking, I know. Sorry, there wasn't really a point at the end of that. Just that.
Nope, you're fine. So somebody's asking about how long do you expect to support the game. We'll stick with Miscreated as long as it makes sense. It goes back to the discussions earlier. As long as the game's making money, then there's no reason to abandon it.
Yeah.
Keep developing on it.
And when the time does come to say that we aren't developing on it, this isn't the kind of game that's going to disappear, right? Like, there's nothing at your end that this game inherently needs to survive. Am I correct?
Right.
Like, users could continue to host private servers and keep playing it. Am I correct?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the reason behind releasing the server files so people can host their own servers now. And then also mod support. We want to get the mod support added to the game, and then players can continue modding it or make versions of it or change it to where, they think it's a better game or whatever they want to do for, years to come, hopefully, in the future, and keep expanding it.
That's way cool. And I do like that. I do like that is part of the plan. That makes me feel a lot better because, I think there are a lot of us that are guilty about buying into the concept of our own projects a little too much, to the point where we no longer see that, maybe there's going to be a time where this game isn't selling. And a lot of people don't address that until it's far too late. Having something... Oh, feck it, I'm going out in the blizzard. If I'm going to die, I'm dying on the road. I'm not going to die in the back of a bus like some idiot. And I'm going to die playing my guitar.
Yeah, you're hitting a lot of snow and blizzard patterns at once.
Yeah, how feckin' cool is this? If I gotta die, I'm gonna die as style.
Might not be intended, though. I just let Hendrik know. In case he's not watching, I just told him that that's the third blizzard in a row that you're getting, which is a bit...
Are you kidding me? This is awesome! I'm probably gonna die on the road. I know, that's not a flashlight. That's a gun! Yeah, I'm probably gonna die on the road, but I'm gonna die frozen with a grin on my face and a guitar in my hands. Like, okay, imagine this from another player's perspective. You see this guy slow walking through a blizzard just playing a guitar. Like, that's cool. That's an emergent game.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to survive, you probably want to just pick a direction and run until you get to a house, essentially, but...
Fine. We'll do it your way, Terry. Whatever. You want to be a guest on my show.
The important thing is you're having fun, right?
I am having a lot of fun. And to the to your lovely animator who was just chatting us via chat, saying you can play guitar. So what you do, there are different gestures and emotes that you can do based on the F keys. So I'm just... Oh, that's how you do third person. I completely forgot. So I'm just hitting like F2 and F3 to just play little tunes to everybody. But we need to start running because we are pretty close to passing out. So I'm just gonna nip into this bus for a second. Hope for some really nice warm clothes. Oh, good! The dogs are back! Oh, good! Have I got any flares? Have I got anything? Oh no, they're smoke grenades. Yeah, you better run! I'm gonna die in this bus, aren't I?
It's quite possible, yeah.
And I think I'll paraphrase Average Joe a little bit, but Average Joe is saying one of the reasons why I keep coming back to this, which is I'm not good at FPS games. I mean, I'm very good at Devil Daggers, and that's about it. But on the average, like, I'm not winning chicken dinners every night in PUBG, let me tell you. But I love this one because there's so many external factors beyond just who does the bleps, like who shoots the most. Oh, free meat. I mean, who could have done such a terrible thing? Alright, come on. Checking dags. You like dags? Did they run? Nope, here they come. Oh boy, here I go dying again. Actually, so as opposed to becoming an icicle, I would actually disagree with your sentiment about discontinuing development of the Miscreated, because the goal of the Miscreated, alongside being self-sustaining, is to create the game. Oh, that dog looks very horrendous. So I would disagree that it would be ideal for the team to discontinue, as I think pushing and promoting free weekends in the same manner as Ubisoft, while it does see a bump in users, not as many of those users return. And it doesn't always equate to an increase in users overall. As we've seen games like Dirty Bomb and things like that do large free user campaigns, unfortunately Dirty Bomb is shutting its doors at the moment. Terry, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news on that one. They're actually going to enable all of their paid in-game items for free for all users now that it's shutting down. Which I'm very sorry to see Dirty Bomb go under, but I think the reason that Ubisoft are able to successfully do those free weekend promotion pushes is because they have stupid amounts of money. Like, Assassin's Creed makes vomit-inducing amounts of cash. Oh, I think I'm just going to have to book it away from these dogs, because otherwise I'm just going to freeze out here in the dark. Later, doggos!
Well, free weekend is not a bad thing when you think about people that don't really... They just want to try the game before buying it, and since there's no demo and, you know, watching someone play is not really the same as playing yourself, so those people might benefit from having a free weekend, try 2 days, and, you know, I love the game and I want to keep playing it, so I'm just going to buy it. Those kind of people that are reluctant of buying the game because it's mixed currently on Steam review, and I don't want to buy mixed things, so I'm not going to buy it. Just try it for yourself and, you know, figure out, well, that's a game for me, I like it, I don't care about the mixed review, I'm just going to buy it. So those kind of players, those kind of consumer, we can't really do anything about them. They won't buy the game if they can't try it beforehand.
That's a very good point.
That's where you benefit from a free weekend, basically.
I would say so. I mean, from the experience that I've had in the past, is those free weekends work really, really well if your title has DLC. Get a lot of users in the door at either free or low cost. Because one of the other things around doing a free weekend promotion is you also, users that decide to buy it can also buy it at a discount. So it's a real 1-2 punch of, hey, try this game for free, and if you like it, buy it for less money than you'd have to spend usually. It's a
Yeah,
really
if
strong...
possible to match the free weekend with the sales afterward, then of course that's probably going to work way better in that
else,
regard.
yeah. But yeah, it was just... That was just my feels on. I am One Shot says, I still want to hear about Ion from you. I don't think there is anything that I can really add about Ion. All I can say is that I had a great time working on it, and there are some excellent friends I made working on that project that I still have today. Hell, the fact that I have Terry and Matt on the line now is because I met Terry while I was working at Improbable. Like, we were actually stationed inside... Oh, goody blood. We were actually stationed... Oh, grey hoodie! That's gonna be better. Pay no attention to the vomiting. Wait, no, did I just tear that hoodie to rags?
Yeah.
Feck! Why am I stupid? Oh. So, Will, how was your Thursday? Well, I fell unconscious from hypothermia and vomited in a bus. How was yours?
And I hate to say it, but this is one of the reasons I like 1.0 of Miscreated. Is there's actually a real danger of dying now. Just from the survival aspect of the game, where prior to that it was just all PvP. That's all anybody ever did was just PvP.
And this also presents a similar threat. So it's that kind of risk reward now of traveling in dangerous conditions, because players who are at PvP level, they have more to lose. I haven't got diddly squat to lose apart from my guitar. If I wanted to make a move into the city and I stocked up on heat packs and food and actually planned it rather than being a feck in Egypt... Oh, actually, let me get into the bus and... Oh, God. Oh, it's on my shoes. Oh, God.
And it also shows the importance of preparing in a game like this. When the weather is nice, you need to make sure you kind of hold on to survival items in your inventory and be kind of wise about what items you keep, what items you throw away. Just because you don't need those right now, but you may need those, if a severe weather pattern hits. And so you just, kind of, you make good choices about what you keep and what you just chuck away.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah, Will threw away the small mag light, not the flashlight, so Will can't craft a gun attachment, which would have let me look and put me gun out. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. That's what I was after. So that means I can actually have my gun up while I'm looking around. Hooray! So Paraxis, I think, was adding, yes, the danger of dying over... Oh, that's really chunky. I'll wait till my mates finish being sick before we eat anything more. Oh, it's still going. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, dude. Okay, props to my character who managed to... Now, I can remember how to do attachments. Is it... No, it's to L?
I don't remember what the key is.
Oh, me neither.
You can go in your inventory and right-click on it and turn it on, too.
Oh. Flashlight down! Okay, so... If I'm going to die out here, I'm going to drink it all. I'm less thirsty. Just drink it all. Save nothing for the journey home. The Gattaca method, my friends. And just to confuse everybody, leave a smoke grenade. A purple smoke grenade on the... This way they'll know I was here. They'll know. Well, so Cheeseburger Bobby's discussing that kind of like marketing of varying titles. One thing that I've encountered a lot when people discuss DayZ, and I don't mean like in comparison to this title because DayZ was kind of the survival title progenitus, but I mean just in general, is that a lot of people seem to think that DayZ was one of those games that kind of air quotes sold itself, that its marketing came of, oh, Christmas package! La, 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 la. And I got An AK-47U. Oh, Terry, how did you know?
That's great.
Oh, Terry, how did you know it was my? It's not. I'm gonna leave it on the road because I'm a villain. I already put my attachments on other things. One of the things that gets discussed frequently that I think is worth bringing up is that DayZ was a game that sold itself. DayZ was luck, most certainly, but it hit upon a beat that it turns out we all wanted and didn't know. A massive rarity, and that without a lot of the coverage from, say, Rock Paper Shotgun and other places, a lot of us wouldn't have known about it. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's very true.
I keep vomiting on my shoes. I'm so sorry. And so...
Yeah, we still kind of have the same issue. We hired a PR company, as probably many people know, to kind of help promote the 1.0 release and so on. But even then...
Who did you work with, if you don't mind my asking?
Reverb.
Ah, of course.
And so they actually contacted all of the big, PR, not the PR, but the media companies like, IGN and Kotaku and PC Gamer and all these type of companies. And they're like, hey, there's this game. It's a really good success story. They just came out of 1.0. They're one of the few games that successfully went from early access to full release on Steam. And they're like, well, it's been around 4 years. And like, we don't want to hear about it.
Yes.
It's just like their focus mainly is on new games, and they don't consider Miscreated news per se, because it isn't some new exciting game that's going to drive a ton of views to their website.
That is interesting.
But you look at their website and DayZ 1.0 update, everybody talked about it because DayZ's the DayZ of the world, and it's a lot more popular of a game. So when people say you need to do PR more, we agree. But it's also really hard to get in the door because just the game.
Yeah, PR is a very, very difficult. It's a very, very difficult game, and I'm not going to get on a Will rant because I have unfortunately inflicted my viewership several times with here's what Will thinks about the current state of games media, and online crisis, online Chris. Thank you kindly for the follow. Oh, someone was asking me any advice with the bass problems. Yo, Elfin Sono, I take it as a massive compliment that you would ask me. Oh, what's that? It's a t-shirt. That's not going to help. Oh, great, t-shirts. Can I wear multiple t-shirts?
You just turn them into rags.
All right. This is the end for Will. Let them know how I died. Frozen on the road. I was about to say, I take it as a massive compliment that you would ask me for advice as I'm freezing to death playing a guitar in the snow. Kathleen says, yeah, we stick around. So one of the things that we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, right now is that direct spends on marketing don't necessarily equate a stronger return on investment as we've seen in the past, and that with games that have been out for a while, it can be really hard to get coverage. Content creators can be a great way to get an uptick and a boost in interest in a game, which seems like a really weird thing to say when we have 100 people watching us chat about the Miscreated. But it can be really hard to get IGN, Kotaku, even RPS and people like that to care about your game. And that's the challenge rolling into 2018, 2019.
Especially since we got cramped in between DayZ release of 1.0 and Atlas that was supposed to release the 19 and finally released, I think, the 21 or something like that. So, in the eyes of IGN, you have to write an article.
Oh, God, yeah.
What are you going to write it about? That Atlas game that promises 40,000 players on the server, which is unheard of and kind of a new thing, or Miscreated releasing out of early access.
Well, indeed.
Pick your thing. I don't know why they can't do both. I mean, in my book, you're just writing an article, so it's you can write too if you want, but yeah.
I'm there with you.
Yes.
But it's interesting that you've basically got sandwiched between two stories with a very negative connotation. Atlas, I haven't had a hands-on with it, so I can't comment on the quality of the product. But I can say that the user reception to Atlas has been exceptionally negative. And again, Daisy standalone, I know a lot of people who have worked and are working on it, but they have a very negative connotation around them for the amount of time it's been in early access, it's been in development, and some requested features that haven't happened. So,
But again, we both know that negative coverage sells more than positive one. So it doesn't really matter. We still got cramp in between both game, regardless of their kind of coverage. It's still huge coverage, which draws a lot of attention, especially in the case of Atlas, because they had so many issues when they released the first day. So everyone kept talking about it every day, new article talking about it. So.
And basically, they consumed the noise space. They made the most amount of sound and made it very hard for other products to get any visibility. Actually, I just want to jump back to Sai's point, because like Sai was discussing some topics earlier, and which I personally disagreed with. But Sai also says that they do not disagree with the vision that you guys have as the developers of this game, and that where they come from is a place of that they really love it. And that's one of the things that's so good. I know there are a few people in chat who have things that they want changed or want different, but they all come from this place of caring about the game so much, and I love that. Maybe this is my community manager showing, but that passion and that enthusiasm, I think, is difficult sometimes, but is always worth celebrating.
I agree with you.
And Freda would like to say, what are you playing today? This is Miscreated. A Daisy, God, I'm so sorry, everybody. I usually gave the usual log line, which is terribly derivative. This is a first-person survival game with a splash and a dash of horror elements, which was made entirely by CryEngine. I am joined by Terry and Matt, the creators, developers of this game, and we are talking about... We've discussed Miscreated, how it went from 0 to version 1. We've talked about projects and ideas Miscreated in the future, and now we're just talking about video games as moving into the industry in 2019. Tencent's buying everything. Coverage is very difficult, and the games media are infuriating at times, exceptionally infuriating. But that is my opinion. I don't expect people to agree with me.
Yeah. So kind of where we're at with Miscreated, just kind of on that same topic, is. We've tried the PR approach. It worked okay. PR costs a lot of money, obviously, and as an indie developer, it's hard to justify the cost.
Yeah. And you're not guaranteed a return. Like PR, like a lot of game development, is kind of like. I always describe PR games and community as kind of like. It's like being at sea. You can chart the waters and you can make some very educated guesses as to how you think things will go down. Ooh, let's go check out that beach house. You can make some very educated guesses, but in the end, you're still sailing at sea. You're at the mercy of storms and the current. Things can sometimes go awry, even with the best planning. And I've seen excellent games entirely ignored. I've seen terrible games get excessive amounts of coverage for the wrong reasons and then sell well because of it. It's not fair and it's not right, and it grinds my gears something fierce, but it does happen.
Yeah, so with Miscreated, kind of where we're at now is we tried the PR thing, it went okay, but since we're at a 1.0 now, and this goes with what Caffeine was asking about in your chat, is
yes.
The focus now is shifting on polishing the game and fixing bugs in the game, all the little things that people complain about and don't like, or don't quite work right. That's kind of where we're at now with Miscreated, is kind of focus more on solidifying the game, if that makes sense. Not necessarily adding new stuff, but just making it a better experience for people to play.
It's not quite hardening because of where you are in development, but that's the closest term I can think of.
Yeah. And hopefully we get some streamers to play it. The struggle with streamers is, the game's been out for 4 years. It's like, do they want to play something new, even though it isn't a good game necessarily, but it has a ton of hype and will bring in a ton of viewers. Odds are they're going to pick some other game just because it's new and has a lot of hype, and they're going to get 50,000 people watching the game.
That's an excellent point. I I acknowledge that I am in a very privileged position as a content creator, because I have a lovely crowd of people that come with from game to game. I like talking with developers, and I like talking about the industry as a whole. So talking about an old game is actually, I mean, old as a, you know what I mean. Talking about a title like this is actually better for me than trying to jump on the hype wagons. But
Yeah.
I understand that I'm able to do that because I'm in a privileged position.
So what we're kind of hoping for with Miscreated now is kind of more of the organic growth. You know, just make the game better, and hopefully by making it better, people will want to play it and share it and stream it and play it longer. And that's kind of where we're at now with Miscreated is that's the focus, is just making it better.
Indeed, and if you're operating within sensible budgets, if you're operating with sustainability first, that's a really good way of going, because every improvement that you make, that remains. A marketing pushes come and go, but general game improvements are forever. And if it does reach the point where it gets picked up something fierce, then you are set. I'm in a nice little beach hut at the moment. I think I asked this earlier, but does anyone want a cup of tea? I got a kettle and a frying pan. I could probably put a cuppa on. Terry, Matt, do you want a cuppa? I'm just gonna put the kettle on.
I'm fine. I got my coffee.
Oh, okay,
Good.
good.
I'm kind of looking for rotten vegetables. That's kind of my cup of tea,
There were some rotten radishes outside. I can scarf those down if people want to hear more. And then Will's character vomits on his shoe noises.
It's the apocalypse, live dangerously, Will.
Wear pink track pants.
That's right. Be you.
They're stylish. Yeah, it's got low slots. Yeah, it's almost a downgrade, but it's styling. But I am absolute matches. Where were you? Where were you before?
There you go.
Cool. Now the snow's finally gone, and we're down by the beach.
Yeah, so now's the time to stock up on those survival items as you're looting, in case you ever need them, as you find them.
What's it now I know?
Yeah, a lot of players still are only focused on PvP, so all they ever do is, collect weapons and ammunition and magazines, and then the survival pattern hits. They either quit playing, or they're gonna die. It's really the only two options.
That's understandable. Ooh, and that's a very good backpack. Sorry, I didn't mean that was understandable. It was kind of, especially if they're used to a certain the patter of, right, let's just peg it up to the heat pack rope. We are doing wonders. Now this will be the round I starve to death. People pegging it up to the dam, grabbing us. You know what? I'm not going to take rags from that. People pegging it up to the dam to get the best guns they can is a very common maneuver in this, and I don't resent it. But the fact that they could freeze and starve on the way down or back, I think is really cool.
Right.
I think I just saw a question about the localization. If we were going to add more to localize the game, basically.
Oh yeah. What are your feels on that? If you don't mind discussing it.
Well, my feels on that is that it's worth to do it. Terry can answer if we are going to do it or not, because I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely something we want to do. It isn't trivial to do. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of hard coded. So in the code there's English strings that are specified in there right now, and so it's a matter of we have to go through all the code and extract all those out so they can be localized. And some of those we actually send English strings back and forth between the client and the server, so we have to fix that. So it isn't trivial to do. It isn't a matter of just taking a file and translating it. There's actually coding that has to take place, and make sure we don't break something in the process type of stuff. But we're to the point where I think it makes sense to start localizing the game. As it's kind of all part of that polishing phase now that we're in. It's focusing more on making the game easier to play for individuals, and localization is part of that.
So here's a question on an articulation of that: is have you considered allowing mods or modification to handle the translation elements? Because I've seen some titles, what they've done is where they haven't had the budget or the viability to translate into as many languages they've liked. they've allowed modifications that would change that, or is that? Oh, I'm getting
Well,
tops.
CryEngine, it's kind of already set up to be localized, where you can put everything in an external file,
Oh, cool.
and so we can just release that file, and anybody that wants to translate can translate all the strings in the file, and they can either run it as a mod that's localized, so they see the localized strings, or if they want to submit those back to us, we just include them in the next update. That language would just work.
Okie dokie.
So we'll probably put it out for volunteers at the first, saying, here's the file. If you want to go through and translate it for us, then we'll include it in the next update, so you can have whatever language that is.
Oh, that's way cool. I have no idea where I am, and I am entirely alright with that. I don't know how dark this is coming across, but yeah, we're by the beach at night, and it's lovely. It's lovely.
Yeah, somebody's asking about 50-player servers. That's currently the max, mainly for performance reasons. With i3D, the way a server hoster will work when you're running servers from somebody is they'll figure out how much memory and CPU usage that your server takes, and they kind of set up a budget based on that. And so like all the official servers, they all run with expectation of the max of 50 players, for example.
I am sorry to interrupt, because I actually do want to talk about that, because
go for it.
Like the actual logistics of server hosting and performance is a really important one, because it's not just, hey, can you add 20 more players on map? Cheers. But some anonymous Mother Hubbard, I have no idea whom, but just gifted 5 subs to everyone watching, and they went to Gillimental, Average Joeman, Bobadillo, A Power Productions, and Sven. Whoever you are who gave out those subs, that is exceptionally generous of you. Thank you. And to those of you that have just been gifted a sub, please enjoy your new emotes. Have fun. Join in. Ask a question. Do a dance. You do you. Sorry about that, Terry.
Stop that incessant clicking.
So yeah, there's 2 aspects there. One is you have to look at it from the server hoster, the people that host all the servers, because they've kind of set it up and budgeted everything based on the resources the server uses.
Okay.
And so if we have a 50-player server, and then all of a sudden you allow 75 players, the server's going to crash, because they set hard limits on everything. And so you'd have to renegotiate with them and try to free up more space, which usually means we have to move some game servers off one physical server to another physical server, and so forth.
Stop that incessant
and then the other one is just the pure performance aspect of the game. Getting beyond 50 players right now, you'd have to have a pretty darn beefy computer to handle it. And that's some of the stuff we want to work on optimizing during this 1.0 phase now, is to add more players. And the same goes with AI. We've added some variables that will allow you to tweak the AI count some, but there isn't any way we can go in and just like add 5 times AI to the game, because the server wouldn't even run anymore. So there's the performance aspect that has to be taken into account and optimized as well.
That's way cool.
So it isn't a lack of desire on our part, and it isn't a lack of just not wanting to do it. There's always a lot of reasons why these decisions have to be made, and as a user and as a player, a lot of times you don't understand what they are. But some of them is business related with the hosting companies, and some of them are just pure performance related, where the server just has to be improved.
Okay. Sorry, I've come across a human base at night. So yeah, once again, whoever that anonymous Mother Hubber is, thank you kindly. I'm being informed that A Power Productions is a Miscreated streamer, so we got some cool kids lurking in chat today, which makes me very happy. I spend a lot of time hanging out with people who work at Multiplay, so it's always been interesting hearing about their perceptions of what it takes to increase the number of users on a server versus the actual technicalities of it. It's nice being able to talk about this stuff. It's not something I get to cover very often.
But that's one of the reasons we want to release the server files as well, is now people can host their own servers. And some of those guys, if they want to have some massive, amazing server that could look at hosting maybe, 80 or 90 players, it won't work that many, by the way, right now. But, at some point down the game, then they could do that, where an official hosting provider probably wouldn't allow it. without charging you $100 a month for the server rental
Yeah.
or something insane. But
I'm guessing for a self-hosted server, they could probably free up some resources to bring the player count up, like less mutant, more player or something. They'd have to maybe find a balance in between those things if they wanted more players or something.
So
yeah,
but the opus then would be on the user, which is understandable. Cargo shorts. Who even wants cargo shorts? Villains. Sorry, just taking umbrage with clothing choices that I found in the back of a car, along with some trash. No, I think that's... and again, that's one of the things that I really love about talking with you guys, is taking into consideration that if users want to do a thing, that they can, not hamstringing that, not trying to... I'm not picking up clothes from that. Not pushing them towards you must buy the super duper official servers, only $99.99 every month. And eventually peeps will be able to, as you were saying, like, be able to create servers that can push things past these hard limits. This torch is worse than useless.
yeah. i3D used to get a lot of flack in our community because everybody said they were so expensive, and we always told them, well, they're not necessarily expensive. It's just what it costs to host a miscreated server. And
Yeah.
people are like, well, I can get a Rust server with 200 players for $30 a month or whatever. And we're like, yeah, but that's Rust. It's like, it's a different game,
Yeah.
And so I think now they're seeing that when the other server hosters now are all coming online and pricing Miscreated, they're all in the within $1 or $2 of each other now.
That's way cool.
It's just Miscreated is a big game. It's a complex game. It's a massive world. You can see the detail in the game everywhere you go. There's this massive amount of detail, and all that has to be loaded in on the server, which consumes memory. If we were to go through and strip the game down and make it look like some of the other survival games out there, then it'd run with half the memory. But that isn't the game we're making.
Indeed. And
You need to take into you need to take into consideration that Rust is a procedural generated world with not. It's pretty much it's pretty much empty. It's just trees, rocks, and it's a world, an empty world basically. So all of those, and there's not much item you can find in the world as well. Pretty much everything is crafted. There is stuff you can find, but there's nearly as much as we do in Miscreated with all those item spawners, guns, and whatnot. So they use lots less resources than Miscreated does.
Yeah, that's the difference between just kind of a generic map and a handcrafted map. A handcrafted map takes longer to load when you join the game. It's a lot more of a memory resource and CPU resource intensive game because I don't remember what the counts were. I know we were up to about 1 million objects in the game like 2 years ago when I counted them, and we're probably double that at least by now. But it looks a lot better. If you compare the look of our game and the amount of detail in the houses and interiors, it's completely different from other survival games out there.
I am about to get shot in the gabber. Whoa! Hey!
Just popping in to say hello, and Twitch is asking me to celebrate my 3-month anniversary again. Gluck over there, at Viking_blonde. Don't
Hey.
die horribly. Die beautifully.
Thank you. So Lucian Grey just did their 3 month in a row, and has instructed me, don't die horribly, die beautifully. You know what? I can't promise you much in this world, one and all, but I will die with glory. That's one of the few things I'm good at doing in this game, is dying with style. Ooh, rotten beets. Wait, are rotten beets better or worse than sick beets? This is a development question.
Rotten beets, you can cook beets and a few other things, but rotten beets are just rotten beets. There's a chance they make you sick. There's a chance you get poisoned.
Terry, are you telling me in an official capacity as a game developer that I should drop those beets?
Yes. So one thing you can do in Miscreated, it's kind of like one of those gameplay tricks, is if you get to the point where if you find antibiotics that cures poison, you can only be poisoned once. And so if you have a lot of rotten vegetables or on you, you can eat them all, be poisoned once, then cure it. And
you could essentially just like inoculate yourself. I'm making up words. by eating a bunch of rancid vegetables and then curing it and then enjoying
Right, and
your
then-
new iron stomach.
Yeah, you may throw up, but yeah. So there's a few tricks like that. If you can cure it right after, you can eat a lot of stuff and then not have to worry about it.
That's really cool. I love little details like that one, and it's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to these kinds of games, even though I do not improve upon them in any ability. And I'm sure all the really good Miscreated players who've been watching today must have been swearing at the screen as I was just running down the road, freezing to death, playing a guitar. There'll be more of that, ladies and gentlemen, and all involved.
See, but that's what makes the game fun, right?
Right.
You get players, and this is perfectly acceptable way to play that only want a PvP, and that's their only focus is PvPing. And then they get killed once and they rage quit. They're kind of playing for a different reason there, but.
I guess so. I mean, one of the reasons why I think I kept coming back to this so much was because of all the other... Oh, it's a bug! Oh, God, it's a bug in the dark! I have nothing to fight this bug with. I'm not dying to a cockroach.
You can punch it, but...
Ooh, energy drink. I'll just grab that. Alright, we're playing Supermarket Sweep, one and all, as the cockroach that runs this store has decided that we are not welcome here. I said good day, sir! I said good day. Alright, let's go next door. Maybe it's being run by a curious grasshopper. Ooh, it's a bar. Coffee shop? Coffee shop. Does anyone want a cup of coffee?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are you good? Okay.
Yep.
Actually, how are we doing for time? Wow, we've been going for quite a while since my last break. How long do I have your company for, good gentlemen? Because
I probably need to take off here shortly, so if there's anything you want to ask me, we probably should wrap that up. I'm not sure about Matt, but...
Yeah, it's the same thing. I'll go eat something and
Yeah,
sleep
we're hitting-
early.
Yeah, we've been on for about 4 hours, so yeah, I probably need to take a break and go do something else.
wow, we've been doing 4 hours. Because of the technical issues earlier, I wasn't aware we've been doing that long. So I'm going to thank you all again for sticking with me this much. So, ladies, gentlemen, and individuals of all persuasions, if you have any questions for Terry and Matt, now is the time to ask. Throw them in chat, either at Viking Blonde, at Miscreated, and let's go from there. Don't delay. Ask today. And whilst I'm doing that, if anyone wants a coffee, what have we got? I can do sandwiches as well. So sandwiches, we've got egg, tomato and lettuce, BLT.
Well, we got one question right there. Well, it's not really a question. He asked about the base building bugs. I'm pretty sure he's referring to the falling base part that that was introduced with the 1.0 release, which is fixed, I think, right, Terry?
As far as I know, it's fixed. It wasn't. This is. I don't want to throw somebody under a bus here, so. It wasn't necessarily an issue with the base building system. It was an issue with the server using too much CPU time overall, so the physics system couldn't process things fast enough. And so it wasn't detecting collisions and letting parts fall is really the base issue. So we've done 3 server hot fixes that have all been focused on improving the CPU usage on the servers.
Okay, that's real cool.
And so yeah, now it's working a lot better. Everything I've seen in the Discord chat says it's working now. They're not having issues with it. There may be some other unrelated bugs that may still be around. The base building system isn't perfect. We're very aware of that, and we'll be addressing those in a future update. But from what I've seen, it's working now, so you should be fine.
Good.
Global events. We've talked a lot about doing global events internally. I'm not sure if we will do that or not now, just because the focus is shifting more towards stabilizing the game and polishing it, improving the user experience in the game, and making it easier for new players to play. That's kind of our focus right now. That may come at some later date if we want to keep working on expanding Miscreated after all that is done. But there isn't anything in the plans right now to add global events. I would like to personally, just because it makes the game less static. It gives something exciting that can happen at random that you can go do and interact with players. which I think helps a lot with gameplay. But we don't have any plans at this point to add that.
Well, then there you go. So a lot of people were jumping in and just wanted to say thank you for your time. So yeah, Average Joe Man said thanks for your time, guys. The Real Darn was saying no real question, but the Miscreated dev the best. Like, keep up the good work. I mean, the thing is, I'm with chat on this one. Like, I personally have been playing this both in my spare time and on stream, albeit terribly. Like, thank you guys for all the time and work you put in, because you have done it and you have made something special in the process, and thank you. You did it as an indie team. That's feckin' badass.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All the props go to all the team members that have been working on this for years. They're, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, they're amazing. They're extremely dedicated. They get their work done. It's just, they're just a great group.
Well, you've done your fair share of work as well, Terry, and without you, the whole vision of the game the game wouldn't exist without you.
Aww.
And you gave us the chance to work with you. Like, I came from the same background as Farzad. I came from the same background as Carl. I went on the forum on Crydev, and I just saw the post and sent you an email, and then you just said, yeah, go ahead, join. Without you, I wouldn't be there today. Not in that position. You pretty much gave me the step in the door that I needed to work in video game development. Even if I started before you, I was still struggling finding a job and landing a job in the industry, and you just gave it to me. So you did. It's all. Yes, we did work. Yes, we're committed to the game, but it all falls on you, because you're the one who gave us the chance to work with you, and you're the one who created the project at the start. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's appreciated.
Pat on the back.
Thank you. But yeah, it's the people working on this game have put in thousands of hours of work. Each person easily on this game, and they've been. It's very hard because of the distributed nature of our team, as we talked about the first. Everybody works all over the world. Everybody works from their own houses. We don't have central studio. All of our coordination is done online using Discord. So it's kind of a difficult and unique working condition, and it wouldn't work for the vast majority of development teams out there in companies. It wouldn't work, but it works because of the team members we have and just their dedication.
Actually, so one last question before from myself before we start the wrapping up. Are there any quick tips you've got for running a team remote that you've worked? A lovely gentleman from South Africa said that one of his pro tips was saying good morning to everyone in chat when you get up and you start doing work, and that's ended up being super helpful for me and for a lot of other people. Are there any that you and your team have had that have worked really, really well?
I think the thing that helps the most is we have a Discord server that is just for the company, just like the Miscreated one is, and everybody is in there. We're chatting all day long. There's different channels for the artists to use and the programmers and general chats, and it just really helps when everybody is online. We don't work at the same time of day. There's people in Australia that work for us, and they're about 12 hours off from us. So as we're going to bed, they're coming online, and but it's just really nice that we're all in chat and we can joke with each other and chat with each other. And so that's the biggest thing, is you have to have that communication channel, whatever it is, whether it's Skype or Discord or however you're going to communicate with the team members. You have to have that communication so what's working on, and everything can stay coordinated. Behind the scenes, we use professional grade tools. We use Perforce, and we use services that track issues and bug tracking and all that type of stuff as well, that helps keep things organized and flowing. But I think the biggest thing is just everybody's in a chat channel. We're just talking all the time about what needs to be worked on and exchanging ideas, and I think that's the biggest thing.
So there is a gentleman in this coffee shop who's showing off some of the really high quality items and is having a great time.
The bloody crowbar, everything.
Yep.
So that person has the DLC, obviously, if he has the bloody crowbar.
Well, there was someone in chat who was genuinely asking for more skins, and I don't expect you to comment on that one, but Hey, when I'm able to pick up the code for the skins, I certainly will, and I will be there with my fancy stuff. The life of a streamer is not one of large income.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare to have somebody that can actually have a successful living off of streaming, like most industries. But
If I can answer Xidu on that one, because we already answered that the DLC stuff. If I can just throw it out there for him.
Of course.
We don't plan for more DLC, but we plan to add stuff to the existing DLC. So if you want to have more skin, we're going to probably add more skins to the existing DLC. So you can pick it up right now, and then we'll periodically add stuff to it when we add more weapons and whatnot.
Also, whilst you've been answering that lovely question, the gentleman who came in with all the gear has been running around and mopping up all the Zeds in the background. So it's just been this Scooby-Doo running back and forward while Zeds are chasing him. He's been shooting. This is entirely emergent. I have no idea who this person is. I don't know if they know who I am. I don't know if they know that I'm streaming a thing. I have no idea. But they're being lovely. They gave me an AK, a folding AK, just because.
oh, it's skinned. It's gold even.
Is it?
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you
I
look at
think
it, look at it in your inventory, and it has a line that says the skin that's applied to it there.
Ooh.
Right, raise it up. You'll see it in game if you
See,
look
it
at
says skin AK-47 gold skin. Yeah, so if you look at it in game, it'll be gold.
But
If
yeah.
I survive long enough to show everybody, I will.
Well, you just go out in the sun and go to third person, and it'll be pretty obvious it's skin.
I will.
But
There's a lot of gunfire going on outside, Terry. I'm going to level with you. There's a lot of gunfire.
yeah, I can't hear that because I have you muted on stream. Because if not, I
Yeah.
get the echo.
Yeah, it's for there's only like one amount of will is more than enough. I'm still amazed that you agreed to do this and put up for it.
Somebody's asking about character customization. There are no plans to do character customization. Character customization is a very open-ended question as well. It's like, how in depth would you want it to be? If we want to just do other races essentially, skins that for the players, we want to add Asian and African American and these type of races. That's something that's somewhat easy to add. But if you want to get into full character customization with like some of these games have, it's just insane. You would need multiple people working on it for several months. So as of right now, there are no plans to do character customization system for Miscreated, but we'll kind of see what the future holds there.
Okay. So I think we've. While there are some lovely questions in chat, there are a few that have been covered earlier in the stream. So like questions like what was your inspiration, things like that. So yeah.
Pretty much any survival game there. We looked at Last of Us. There's actually one house in the game that's patterned after the Last of Us house.
I thought it looked bloody similar. I don't. Oh, I know the one. I feckin' know the one.
Yeah, there's one that's kind of patterned after one. We're all fans of survival games. We've played Fallout. We've played Last of Us. We've played all the other survival games that have existed. And so there's a lot of kind of inspiration we've taken from other games as well. So.
Oh, and the gentleman's offered us a Mark III, which is also gold.
Yeah, I think he's just running back and forth to the kiosk and
He's skinning weapons.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. Oh, okay. Now he's just spoiling us. That's a golden crowbar as well.
No, that's the bloody one.
Oh,
There's
you're
no
right.
gold
That
for
is a
rubber.
bloody skin crowbar.
Yeah. So one of the things we've done, I don't know if it's unique to our game. It probably isn't. But if you skin an item in the game, then you can give it to another person. They can use that for as long as they're alive. And so, like, if you have the gold skin, you can apply it to the weapons, and then give those weapons to players, or skin their weapons for them, type of a thing, and use them forever.
Actually, I'm going to just step outside a little bit so we can show off the. Oh, I need to take the gas mask off just for a second, because it does inhibit my field of view. Oh, that is lovely. And then if we have a little look around, that is the AKU in the shining light of the sun. bear with me. I'm just thanking the lovely gentleman who has been providing us with loads of goodies because I honestly, Terry and Matt, if given the opportunity, I will continue to natter with both of your lovely selves until the break of dawn.
Yeah.
So look, I think all that's left to do is thank you both for coming on the show. Thank you for bringing your lovely community with. We've had so many good questions. We've had so many good chats. What a splendiferous bunch of people. And those who came over from Taco's stream and have stayed to hang out, like, yo, that is super cool. So it's probably going to get me murdered 8 ways from Sunday. Actually, no. Terry and Matt, if there's anything else you'd like to say before we bring the interview portion to a close, now is the time, good sirs.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and your community, for all the questions and their support. It's always fun doing these streams. We don't do them very often just because, we do try to still develop the game, obviously.
Of course.
So we appreciate the invite and having us on your channel, I just love talking to you. We've chatted for over the several years now, and so it's always just a thrill to talk with you and chat with you in general.
Well,
so I appreciate it.
Terry, if you do come to GDC, let's grab a pint or something. And yeah, although I'll be a broke-ass indie press guy, so we'll go somewhere affordable this time. And we're not going to the W because the W is trash. I officially come to that that like years after everyone else realised it. The W is nothing good happens in the W.
All right. Well, I need to jump off. So I appreciate your time, Will. I appreciate your chat and your community. They've been awesome.
Hey, the long ship stands with you, Terry.
Yeah, and hopefully we've answered quite a few questions they've had. If they have other questions, they can tweet us, or we do have a Miscreated Discord. They can join if they're interested. The guys in there are great. We have a really good community over there as well. So.
Way cool.
Anyway.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump off now. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
You're entirely welcome. Good
And
night,
I'll
Terry.
do the same. So thank you guys for the time, for the invitation, and we'll see you in game sometime, probably.
I'd
So
really
keep
like
playing.
that.
Stay awesome, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye. Okay, so everybody, that was Matt and Terry of the Miscreated dev team. What a lovely mother hubbards. So here's the thing. I said to you all that we'd be doing this as a group activity. There are 104 of you lovely mother hubbards all watching. So, I am on US Server 1. US Server 1. Official server. I think there's still like 20 slots free. I would like to cordially invite all of you to come join us. Maybe it'll be a cavalcade of chaos. Maybe it'll be gunfire and stream sniping and madness. But I'd like to hang out with all of you lovely folks. All right? I think I need to just quickly make sure. Oh, yeah, so I'm just going to turn VoIP off for now. Just so that we can't have people in and shouting terrible stuff. Zadu says, shouldn't have done that. Hey, Zadu, either it ends up in a bloodbath or it ends up in some madness or silliness. Those of you watching, if you wanna come join us and just hang out. If there's parts of this game that I haven't seen that you want to show off, like whoever this lovely gentleman is here, like, yeah. We're gonna go on an adventure. The man, thank you for the 100 cheer. I did remember to turn off the spook noises, because as the lovely Miscreated community came in this morning and started hitting follow, I was getting hissed at by a xenomorph in my ears. But yeah, so if you'd like to join us, you are all welcome. I'll be AFK for 4 minutes, and then I'd love to join you. So yeah, I'm going to go grab myself a cup of tea. Caffeine, I have no idea where I am. I think I'm Cape somewhere. So, yeah. Ladies, gentlemen, and individuals of all persuasions, I invite you now to come join me in the Miscreated. Oh, okay. So whoever is currently listening, whoever is currently helping me out, is watching on stream and has said that we are in Cape Bay. So I'm going to put up the BRB Needs Tea. That should give you all a chance to load the game, get your kit together, and come hang out. I do ask that when we start chatting on VoIP, please try and keep it. I mean, I ain't kicking anybody off for some F-bombs, but please try and keep it as PG-13 as you can. As you can. Alright? Alright. So, you lovely, lovely folks, actually, let me just put it as a banner so that we can see. So, you lovely folks, come and join me for a little spot of potentially chaotic, mad adventures. And all of you, by the way, that have followed and chatted and hung out, thank you. Thank you. So come with me now on a journey through time and space. But I desperately need a cup of tea, alright? We are not stopping the stream. I just desperately need a cuppa, alright? Alright. Oh, and I need to quickly update because we aren't interviewing.
Don't be a knob.
Who was that? Who was that? The man saying, don't be a knob. I promised nothing.